go.
Boom.
Hello, everyone. We're back. We're playing more Call of Cthulhu. Masks of Nyarlathotep. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Excellent.
I'm ready.
Excellent. As always, I am your keeper of arcane secrets, or whatever the fuck the name of the dungeon master is in this game. As always, I'm joined by Graydon. I'm joined by Jared. I'm joined by Matt. I'm joined by Peter. I'm also joined by Evan, but he went to get a drink, so you have a nice view of Evan's room right now. All right. Everyone remember what we're doing? Everyone remember how to?
Why do we
play
let
this game,
Evan? Why do we let Evan have a camera?
These boots are made for walking.
And that's just
just
what
what
the
they'll
Guys, we
do.
need to make some serious decisions here.
Also, like, I think people consciously make the decision to have a nice upper half and a bad lower half when they don't expect the lower half to be on camera.
Very
That's
true.
correct.
Yeah.
Very true.
So we
Yeah.
all know. I'm gonna wait till he gets on headset for this. Come on. Oh my god, dude, seriously, just put your fucking headset on. Come on,
He's
we're trying to
making you
make
work
content
for
here.
it.
He's giving you
Never
a
mind. I
tease.
forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, Evan. How does it feel knowing that everybody thinks you're a fucking fraud because you literally walked into the room with your dress shirt and basketball shorts on? Like, what's even the point? You may as well go change at this point. At least I don't pretend to be someone I'm not. Except that's what we're
Actually,
gonna do
yeah.
for the entire rest of this game.
Yeah, was this a
Stream.
conscious choice? Were you like basketball shorts and a button-up shirt?
Well, no, I went to work with the button up and pants, but now since I've gotten home, now I'm relaxing, so I took off the.
You
He's
took off
business
the
up
pants,
in the top half.
but you
Honestly,
kept the button-up shirt.
I would want to criticize him, but this is also the shirt that I wore under my work shirt for the entire day today. I just like it so much.
Oh.
So
Per
I-
Matt's
I'm-
request, I will also show Anime Girl.
Yes,
All
Yes.
stream.
Are we showing off?
I love
I guess.
drawings.
Two colors.
Isn't
There you
there? Okay, all right, thank you. I was gonna say, isn't there a secret meaning in that hoodie? But I think I figured it out.
All right. We're playing more Call of Cthulhu, boys. I've
Yeah.
been really
Let's
looking
go.
forward to this. We got you guys made some progress, which is good. So, a little bit of a recap after your really great escape from Juju House and accidentally discovering a cult that you burnt to the ground. You made your way into the streets of New York. Met a doctor, Dr. Lancer, I believe his name was. He patched some of you up real good, some of you not so good. And then you did a little bit more research. You went to Jackson's funeral. You got the will reading done, as well as some notes from Jackson's publisher that have given you some ideas of where to go next. You went to Harrison's humble abode and met
Okay.
his housemaid named Matilda.
Ah, Matilda.
And that was where we left off. You guys bedded down for the night at Harrison's home. Now we come full circle the next day. It is a beautiful Sunday morning. You are all in Harrison's home. What would you like to do?
So I'd like to start by making sure the record shows that I actually rolled an extreme success on my my nice letter to Lady Carlisle.
Right.
Um,
Thank you for the
and-
reminder.
Yeah, and so we're basically on track to woo her in the best way ever. I think what we talked about so far was swinging by her place, dropping off the letter, going to another objective of which I have forgotten.
I believe you
then-
said you were going to go to Harvard University.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So we got a busy day ahead of us, but luckily for all parties involved, Matilda's made you all a nice breakfast. Enjoy. I'd say have an extra hit point on the house, but I don't have the authority to make those decisions. So
If you don't have a major wound and you don't have and you are not at full hit points, you do get a hit point back because it's a new day. But I think the only person who's not at full hit points is maybe Jared.
Yeah. What about it, Jack?
Nothing. Just making sure. Just making sure. Anyway, what do you have to worry about? You're walking around New York with a shotgun in your trench coat.
Yeah, well, they
It's
should.
like-
I'm prepared now.
It is a totally normal thing to do.
Yeah.
In the world of Leon.
All right. So
Leon Chronicles.
yeah, just to recap, you are going to drive north towards Harvard University, if that is correct.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, just before we head off, I want to emphasize, I thought a little bit on it last night. Some of the papers that
Oh, the report.
Jonah showed us, or showed me rather, the other day about some of Jackson's last writings. They mentioned books in the Carlisle safe. and I think
Carlisle
that
what?
could be crucial.
The 6.
What?
What?
What happened?
I don't know.
That was spooky.
I went on a trip.
6.
Anyways, while Norman's tripping out, please continue, Claude.
Norman had a neuron not connect.
No, that was it. I just I think there could be valuable information at the Carlisle house, specifically in the books that they keep, should they have kept them after all these years. I think it's worth not necessarily increasing our efforts because we don't want to come off desperate, but I think it would be worth our while to get in there.
Well, let's give it
But-
our best effort.
I'm fine with a letter for now. We'll see what that brings us.
Well, as Ruth said, we could always come back that way and see if our letter was received positively.
I mean, how could it not? I put my best work on there. Honestly, if it's just left there and it hasn't been retrieved, let's keep it, and I'll use it as material for my next book because
It was such a good
It's a
letter.
short story.
it was a real roll of the dice, folks. Sometimes you just get good numbers and it all comes out on the page in perfect form. And yes, I should have remembered it and wrote it down in my journal so that I could write a book about it later, or at least include it in the book about this adventure. But I didn't think about that. So
Mm. Of course.
Do you have quality
Yeah.
standards? Because if the letter
I don't
doesn't work,
have-
it can't be that good.
I am actually my own editor. Because honestly, who can even have the brain to read such a outstandingly good novel than the one who wrote
Not
it?
me,
right?
certainly.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
Are you mocking your own audience?
'cause you're a woman.
audience
I mean,
Harrison?
what?
You'd
I'm
have
sorry,
to have,
Clyde. What'd you say? I was thinking about other stuff.
You'd
Are
have
you
to have
mocking
no
your own
brain.
audience? Go ahead, Norman.
You'd have to have no brain to read your material and not shoot yourself in the head.
Honestly, that wasn't a joke. That was just kind of hurtful. It's I let you into my home. I introduced you to Matilda, a very personal person to me, and this is the thanks I get. So honestly, why don't you just wait outside, Norman? We'll all be out in a few hours.
All right, I'll go get breakfast,
Yeah, okay. See if you can have a fish dog.
or I'll go have coffee somewhere.
Sure thing. It's New York. There's probably somewhere right around where you can get a cup of coffee, a cup of Joe. The rest of you, is there anything you would like to do before heading to Harvard? Also, how are you going to get to Harvard?
That's a good
How far away is it from New York? I don't even know.
I just Googled it. It's a 3-hour drive north along the East Coast.
Is there a
call
train
it Uber?
available?
Is there a train between... that's a good question, actually. Probably. There's probably a train in the 1920s. You could probably take a train, I'd imagine. Looks like a train from New York to whatever town Harvard is in would take about 6 hours, and it would not stop by the Carlisle estate.
Not an option then.
How much would it cost taking a cab?
Taking a
Taking
cab?
a bus.
Oh
a
my
van with all of us.
Okay, a bus I guess is a better idea.
Listen,
I don't think bus lines run like between states in the 1920s. I don't know if that's a service that exists. I think you would be better off renting a car.
I think it's either that or a good
Okay,
cab.
wait. So you can't get a bus like a Greyhound between states, but you can get a fucking Enterprise rent-a-car in the 1920s?
Well, yeah, car rentals existed, as far as I can tell, based on my somewhat limited research. But like long haul buses weren't around in the 20s. I don't think.
How much was a vehicle back then?
Road trip.
Leon, you have all kinds of toys, right?
No,
In
guys.
the mid-20s. Oh, we lost Graydon. In the mid-20s, it depends on the car. If you were getting like a cheap car that has been in circulation for a long time, like the Ford Model T, which there are millions of, but it's a little bit obsolete by 1925, it's only a few $100s to buy a car like that.
Guys, we have the Jesse Hughes Fund too. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, of course.
We can't use that for.
This
our
is part of
boys'
our.
road trip.
This is
Norman,
exactly
the
what
Jesse
we
Hughes
have it
Fund
for.
exists for this exact purpose.
For
Were you listening?
exploration, missions, bed food, etc.
We
Well,
can
Also, who
we
are you
could-
talking to? You're in a coffee shop alone right now.
True.
We could rent a Greyhound bus in 1920.
Well, at that point, we also just rent a car.
Yeah. Why don't we just?
But we could
Why don't we
start the
buy a
first.
car?
We could not only get
Yeah,
to
let's start-
Harvard. We could charge people to take our bus to Harvard,
Guys,
and then we could become the first.
We have an adventure. We're not
Transportation
business people. We're not trying to
Let's
start a
start
business.
We're start Greyhound.
And then
Jackson
And
just
then,
died.
And then Norm can start the first. Can start a small ship transportation, domestic transport.
I'll start a what do they call those boat party things? A pontoon,
Oh yeah, a pontoon boat.
a jive. What do they call that?
I
think a jive was a bar back in.
No, like when you go on a boat tour, but you just go just to get drunk.
a booze cruise.
A booze cruise.
I mean, technically, you could also take a boat along the East Coast up to Massachusetts from New York. That's something you could technically do.
A car ride is
A
3
boat?
hours.
Can we
guys.
take Norman's boat?
Technically,
Like, is
yes.
Norman's boat. Okay, so what are we even talking about?
How
No,
long
but
would it
that's
take?
not by the Carlisle
Lamborghini
Mansion?
for?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
We
Say again.
need
Over?
to stop by the Carlisle Mansion
A-
and drop off the letter.
And then 2.
Or we
how
could
long
mail
would
it,
take?
How
I
far
guess.
away is that?
It's on the way.
I've got a boat. Fuck, how long would that take to sail from New York to Harvard?
Guys,
Is Harvard even? Wait, Harvard might be landlocked?
I think it is.
a car ride is it's only 3 hours.
We can
Why?
portage Norm's boat.
That's like going to Edmonton. Let's go to West Edmonton Mall.
Exactly.
Cambridge, right? Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Massive two shit.
Massachusetts.
Never remember. Okay. Here we go. So Cambridge is just north of Boston. It's like right there. It's along the Charles River. So you could sail to Boston, but you can't sail up the Charles River because it freezes in the winter.
Shit.
And also, I don't know how long this would take in Norman's boat. It would probably take at least a day, probably more.
Be a fun boat trip. A booze cruise.
Can we just take a car, please?
I'm not even here for this conversation.
I'm
True,
telling
you're
the
not.
group.
I mean, yeah, do you want to buy one or do you want to rent one?
I don't want to buy a car. We're about to head out to somewhere else. Why would I? I have no possessions in New York. Why would I buy a car here? Let's just rent.
Would I
one.
know anyone, Jack, in my background that like lift cars and I could get like a deal from?
You want to buy a stolen car?
I want to buy. I don't want to buy one. I want to borrow one.
Here you go,
You know, I
Car
think-
Isles.
I think Beyond the Law is kind of the name of the game with this one. So if he wants to steal, honestly, steal a car yourself. I'm not even that upset. Just
I
don't
mean-
do it right outside my apartment, please.
Make a luck
My
roll.
name is Harrison Dodge, and I'm stealing this car.
Give me a luck roll.
It's for my
Give me
next
this
book.
car. Give me this car. By the way, my name is Harrison Dodge.
This is my apartment. Like literally, they get out of the car, they walk into like a nearby building, and like Clyde runs up. Hey, my name is Harrison Dodge. I live in room or apartment 37 in this building. I'm stealing your car.
I got a 20.
Is that a success with your
Yeah,
luck
that's a
points?
success. Sorry, I don't know. Like under, right? I'm trying to roll under
Yeah.
my.
Under your luck points.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can think of a few people who might have some cars lying around. The thing is, you want to liquidate cars pretty quickly in New York City because you don't have much storage space once you steal the car.
So we're leaving the city. You don't need to store it. We can just abandon it on the side of the road.
Well, it doesn't matter to you guys. It matters for the person who steals the car. The person who commits Grand Theft Auto doesn't want to hang on. He's not running a used stolen car lot in an abandoned garage in New York City. He's stealing cars and like probably chopping them up or something like that, or trying to flip them real quick.
Yeah, you know what? Ruth was right. We have the fund. Let's just go and let's see how much it would cost to rent a car for a day.
Does it seem like we spent too much time discussing this?
Yes.
Cool.
Let's go.
I think Norm is very lonely, and I would love to hear his input on the situation, even though we've already decided what we're gonna do. So how about we leave my apartment, say goodbye to Matilda, grab your things. It's been a pleasure having you in my home. It's been a pleasure being in my home.
Does Matilda live here?
Thank you, home. I don't know. I'm not here half the fucking time, Ruth. I'm too busy looting pyramids and getting my hearing reduced with you.
And Matilda's got his good. I bet her whole family was just like hiding in the second bedroom somewhere.
Okay, look, we don't have to talk about it, okay?
I love how you insult and try to woo the same person in Ruth.
I think wooing is. I think the woo ship has sailed a long time ago. I think the woo ship is kind of, or the woo
He
ship is trying to.
proposed, and I just flat out said no. I think the message was pretty
It
clear.
takes a while to get over that. Okay, so it's like this is just part of how I heal.
Well,
Okay, so
Anyways.
just based on some quick Google searching, and apparently car rentals did exist at this point. They were kind of rare, but in the interest of saving time and not pulling out, well, I don't have any hair, but we just say you can find some people who will rent you one of their cars from their rental company. It's just a basic Ford Model T. There's a million of these on the streets. Most popular car in America, even at this point, even though it's like 10 years past being obsolete. It's the car that launched the great American passion of driving or whatever. It costs 10 cents per mile. So I will calculate the mileage for the round trip, and then I will let you know what that comes out to.
As long as we can get a receipt.
You can get a receipt.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Who's driving?
No, can I veto that?
You don't think
I
I
don't
know
know.
how
I
to
mean,
drive a
if
car
you can
then?
drive a boat, you can drive a car. I've lived in New York all my life. I've never done anything.
A car is nothing but a concrete sea.
what?
I'm sorry.
A car is made of metal.
I don't think you should be driving.
Who gave you your driver's license when you're driving a concrete car?
There's no driver's license in 1920.
They
There might
I
be.
think
Okay,
there was. I'm pretty sure there
We'll
is.
see about that, pal.
boy, just a logistical question here. How many seats does the Model T have? Because based off a quick Google search, it doesn't look like a lot.
Well, there are a lot of different, like, sort of packages for the Model T, from what the book has told me. For our purposes, you can fit 5 people into this particular Model T.
It's a great
It's
rental
not like we have to
company.
buckle up. We can just squeeze in.
Oh fuck
It-
yeah!
It's a little bit cold, it's still January. Roads are slick. But also, I do need to know who's driving.
I'll
You haven't
drive.
told me that yet.
Can you imagine if one of us dies in a goddamn car crash?
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Did,
The roads
does
are
anyone
slippery.
know?
Roll,
Does
roll
anyone know how to
blades.
drive? That's a good question.
Okay.
No.
not the answer to your question, but only 39 states were issuing driver's licenses by 1935, and apparently, the car salesman would teach you how to drive.
There you go.
Bonkers! Isn't that so ridiculous?
I guess that makes sense, actually. Yeah. Who else?
All
is
right.
gonna-
Well, I'll drive, I guess, if no one else wants to drive.
Well,
I like
Leon,
to
I
see
mean,
Norman
you've
driving.
probably done getaway driving in your life, haven't you?
No, I usually try not to have to do
Away.
getaways.
Okay.
Listen,
Like-
this is what I'm saying. Norman's got the only experience with driving anything in the group.
Well, Clyde,
I
you're a
can do
criminal. You're telling me you can't drive at all? You've never done
I
getaway
was a-
driving?
No. God, and what do you know about me being a
I can
criminal?
do it.
I just am making some assumptions based on our time spent together. Is that so wrong?
You
It's
don't
his
know what I
deductive
did.
prowess.
Yeah, if you thought
You
I
don't
was
know
a
who I
criminal,
did
I'm
it
sure
for.
you'd
You
say
don't know when I
something.
did it. And you don't know how.
Okay, but I'd like to know if you drove at any point during that
No,
experience.
I told you. I lived all my life in New York. I've never
Are
driven
you
a day in
scared
my
of
life.
driving? Is that what it is, Clyde?
Um,
I'm sure you could get behind a wheel and figure it
All
out.
right, I'll drive.
Harrison.
Okay, thank you, Leon.
Can you please
Yes.
not shout our secrets in public? Remember how you
Oh.
kind of talked a little bit to that
Yeah.
reporter? We just don't want a
Oh, yeah,
repeat of that.
Is there an
See-
article in the paper for that, by the way?
Yes, in fact, there is.
Oh my
She did publish.
God.
Well, first off, there's a lot of talk about this fire that was in Harlem a couple days ago,
Interesting.
and how there
First
were
time
some
hearing
crushed
it.
bodies found in a secret basement. underneath.
Yeah. Don't know what that's about.
Gasp.
Uh,
Can't hold on.
leading the authorities to believe there was, well, actually, they haven't published a lot of that yet, because that's not public knowledge. There's still investigation is ongoing. A lot of the details would not be hammered out,
Interesting.
but
Very interesting.
yeah. So you don't know the extent of what the police know because the reporters don't know much. But Rebecca Schosenberg did publish a few remarks based on her conversation with you yesterday.
And what was?
I don't wanna
those-
read
what
it.
Were those remarks?
I don't want to read. I don't want to read it. I tried.
I was at the
to.
coffee shop all morning. I would have read the paper. Tell me.
So it's mostly just an article. It's a very short article talking about Jackson Elias and kind of how it might connect to some of the other murders that have happened over the past months in New York. It just kind of briefly mentions Rebecca talking to some people at the funeral. It doesn't like go too far into detail. There's no like damning evidence against you guys or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's mostly just a normal, newspaper article.
But she
So
didn't write about Harrison Dodge in this newspaper.
She
I was
didn't.
gonna say, does he
she
name
didn't
it?
explicitly say anyone's name.
I don't think I actually said my name. I think only when he said his name was Harrison Dodge.
You
I
know,
think
you
he introduced you though. I think he walked up, cut you off, introduced the both of you, and then took the.
sorry to interrupt, Leon.
Yeah.
Rebecca, have you met Leon?
This guy, Leon. This
Leon.
guy. There's
the
this.
street assassin for hire.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Also-
it's crazy.
This table I have in the book says that a Ford Model T seats 5 people. So
Hey, nice.
Well, it looks like the back seat's like one of those longer seats that you can kind of crump through people
yeah,
into.
seatbelts don't exist at this point
Yeah.
in time.
Oh God, we are gonna die in a car crash.
It's just like a
aren't
school
I
bus.
can't wait. I can't wait to drive.
we? Shotgun.
If
Can I
we're
say
gonna
that?
make a lady
Yeah.
sit in the back,
Ooh.
I'm driving, so Ruth, you get shotgun.
What, dude? What are you trying to propose to her or something?
No, you already did that.
You know, a lot of rum, whiskey, lager will do that to you.
Rum whiskey lager.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
delicious.
yeah.
Have you tried it?
Favorite bevy.
Might try it now.
All right. Next time, outside of the game, next time you go to a bar, Matt, you gotta get
You
a
dare me?
ask for
You
a
dare me?
rum whiskey lager.
Yeah. Hey, do you guys have any rum whiskey lagers? I like Harrison's. Is my favorite. Do you have any of that?
Anyways, so you
Anyway.
guys presumably pile into this car. Norman, are you going to join them in the car? Are you going to make your way back? Or are you still having...
Did we get a
Breakfast.
receipt? Sorry.
Did they come get me? Because
You haven't...
I
well,
assume. I assume
even
you came
know
to
where
get
you
him
are?
because he left the apartment.
it's 10 cents per mile driven. So I need to do the calculations based on what your overall mileage is going to be by the end of
Okay.
it.
Did they come get me though?
I don't
Yeah,
think we
They
know where
just
you
leave?
are. Do we know where you are?
I mean, he can't have gone far. He probably would have been able to see if we were
I,
coming out
I
of
would
the
have
building.
assumed
He's
we
not
would have come
stupid.
looking for him before we went to get the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the interest
No,
of not
man.
role-playing this great search for Norman in
No,
the
man.
streets of New York, we will say that all
Norman!
5 of you are in the Model T.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for not giving Norman the choice because you know he would have taken it.
No, there's a
Oh, we don't get to
specter.
see.
Yeah.
Okay,
Give you a pen for cake. Oh,
So-
there's also pins in the jar.
We get to hear. We get to hear, but we can't see.
What's the cake look like? Tell me. Come on, tell me.
so
Show us the cake, coward.
you guys are in the Model T.
Yep.
You're driving northward.
Perfect.
Sure are.
You want to give me a drive auto roll
Fuck. I
you
knew
know
it
what?
was gonna come.
because it is.
I can't wait till we
it's
roll the
snowy
vehicle.
out.
Did we get insurance?
There's no insurance.
All right, I got a 32, and that's a fail because it's a 20%.
It's a 20%. Hey, that's pretty. That's pretty generous for a base level, a base stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a great driver. You don't crash the car, but you're going slow. You miss a few turns. You know, in this time, like streets are still kind of packed a lot of the time. You know, Times Square and stuff like that. There's still a lot of foot traffic that
don't-
intermingles with
Don't tell me
normal
to hit
traffic.
someone.
You don't hit anyone, but you get some obscene gestures from people in within New York who you cut off or like come close to hitting.
Well, see, I bought the car from Ruth, and Ruth is teaching me how to drive after I bought the car. So
So this is Ruth's fault.
yeah.
Are women allowed to drive? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I embodied Harris in there for a moment.
Women are allowed to drive in 1925.
Really?
Yes. Oh.
Hey,
Press X to doubt.
Jack.
Just abort the whole campaign. So
Well, how does my book work again, Jack? If I keep reading it, I go a little bit more insane every time, or is that only for learning the spell?
it depends what you're trying to do with it. So you lost the sanity points for the initial reading. You got the initial Cthulhu mythos increase from the initial reading. What you can do, you can either learn the spell from it by studying it more, or you can get a higher rating in your Cthulhu mythos and potentially lose more sanity from doing a longer study. So it depends what you want to do.
Yeah, I want to do a longer study. Like while we're doing this 3-hour car, I'm just gonna read the book.
You want to do a full study? Okay. I just need to pull up the book.
Please
In
read out
question.
loud to the group.
No.
Story time.
If he does read it aloud to you guys, then you'll also get like the initial sanity points reduced.
Leon already
vibes.
failed his driving check. Let's not mess with fate.
It literally drops me all my sanity, and now I'm an insane driver.
Oh, that's
So-
really
It takes 6 weeks to fully study this book,
holy shit.
cover to cover.
All right, well, I better start going on that.
But you can do it if you want to. If you want to spend a little bit of time every day over the next 6 weeks or whatever, or within the next 6 weeks, because you might have time, then you can do that
Yep, I'll do it.
if you want to. Okay, sounds good. I do need to know if you're reading aloud though, because that will
No,
make a
not
difference
reading
for
aloud.
everyone else. It's slow going. You get out of New York. The Westchester estate, from what you've been told, is about a half hour outside of New York. Then from there, it's another 3 hours to Harvard. But yeah, you can do it. So within half hour, since the weather is kind of shitty, it's probably going to be a little bit slower than that. Actually, I would say, yeah, within like 45 minutes to an hour, you get to the a large estate in the distance, surrounded by trees and foliage. You can see a 3-story mansion in the distance coming down the road that you're on. There's a large gate that encircles it, a large fence that has sharp implements at the top. I can't remember what they're called when they're at the top of a fence like that, but it's very, very nice looking. The gate is closed, and it looks like there is someone standing guard.
Harrison, you're
Okay.
a fast talker. You get out there.
Oh god.
Yeah, you guys
You know,
drive up to the gate.
I've invested so much emotion into this letter that what if it doesn't make it to her? What if she never reads it?
Use your emotion to convince that guard that it needs to reach her.
Show him how much you care.
I get out of the car. Do you want me to roll first and talk later, Jack?
No, I want you to talk first and roll
Okay.
when I ask you to.
Then he'll know
Okay.
if you should get a penalty dice.
That was powerful, Jack. I felt that. That was good.
All right. Can I help you?
Good evening, sir. My name is Harrison
Afternoon.
Dodge.
Sorry.
Can I get everyone except for Harrison? Could I get spot hidden checks?
I got just a regular success.
I got a fail.
Fail.
Big
Success
fail.
by 1 point.
Extreme success.
Those of you who
Whoa.
succeeded can see that by the guard box, kind of like the station where the guy is guarding the main gate. There is a shotgun, should he need it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. You do not see that, Harrison.
Yes. Okay, that's good. That's probably for the best. Where was I? Okay.
Ruth gets
Good
scared.
pleasantries to you, my friend. My name is Harrison Dodge. You may have heard of me before in such novels as You Won't Believe What We Saw Down There, a recent classic for sure, but
We
that's
shouldn't have said
not
them.
quite why I'm here today. I have a letter that I wrote directly for Mrs. Forgive me, sometimes I'm bad with names. Erica Carlisle, the one of the tenants here at this house. We are explorers that are, in a manner of speaking, wanting to, or perhaps having a general idea consideration for the concept of picking up where Roger Carlyle left off on his expedition. And we were looking to see if there's any advice or information that she could pass off. And so I've written I've written a letter of pleasantries, and I would just be entirely grateful if you could deliver such a letter to Erica Carlisle. Would you do that for me, good sir?
You guys are not gonna fucking believe this, but I rolled for the guard, and he knows who Harrison is.
No!
He's read some of Harrison's works.
Shit.
Oh, Harrison Dodge. What was the name of the fucking book, man?
You won't believe what we saw down
I
there.
read You Won't Believe What We Saw Down There. That was at the edge of my seat the whole time.
I'm looking back at the car that's parked a little way down. Oh, so you've read my book, have you?
I turned up the
Oh.
radio. I turned up the radio just before he said that.
Very,
Ford
very
Model
pleased
T.
to hear.
I got my nose in my book.
My friend. I'm ever so grateful to hear that you've enjoyed that book. That was a recent passion project of mine. Would you believe it? All of my friends that I went on that expedition with, they're here with us too. I mean, they're practically celebrities, but
So
you know,
is that Ruth, the woman who fell madly in love with you and who you had to turn down?
I'm afraid it is.
Excuse me,
She-
what?
I fear that it was my mysterious ring that she was truly after, and
Do I
not
hear
the love of
this?
my heart.
Make a listen check.
I so want this to happen. I want Ruth to just storm out there and kick him in the nuts.
Well, I can certainly pass the message on to Miss Carlyle. Well, I'll pass it on to her lawyer, who handles all of her appointments, and hopefully you'll hear back. The Miss Carlyle doesn't really like talking about her brother, but I'm sure maybe she'll make an exception for.
Yes, yes. Well,
So-
my friend, I don't mean to be insensitive. I understand it's a difficult prospect for a bunch of strangers and Harrison Dodge to approach and broach to you. But would you say you're close with Miss Carlyle, my friend? And what was your name? Sorry, sir. What was your name?
I'm just one of the guards for the estate. I would not say I'm close with Miss Carlyle at all.
A shame, a shame. Well, if it must go through her lawyer, then I suppose that's what. Well, can anybody hear me in the car? Should I even bother trying to
I
communicate with them?
failed.
You failed your listen roll.
I failed.
I'm
Yeah.
not trying to listen.
Okay. Okay. Well.
Clyde's just in the back, like reading the book. He's like, "Oh wow, that's a really cool way to dismember somebody."
Well, my friend. What was your name? Sorry, sir.
I'm Chuck.
Chuck, it's been a pleasure to meet you. If you happen to have a copy of a book of mine nearby, I happen to have a pen that I can sign such a book. I would be pleased to do that for my new friend, Chuck.
1 second.
He's read a little bit of your book. You think he carries it with him?
Well, I mean, he read far enough to knew that you
Uh,
desperately, drunkenly tried to propose to me, and I had to turn you down. So,
I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that.
well, you don't.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
The guards don't have a luck stat, so he does not.
Well, is
have
it
the
my
book.
luck? Is it my luck? if
No,
he
it
has
would
the
be
book?
his luck in that case.
Oh, okay.
'Cause
Well,
it's the chance of him having like a book
aw,
nearby.
Roll
Okay,
to see
well,
if you have a book.
Friend, now that I think about it, there's actually sorry. I'm gonna roll. What do you want me to roll? Luck?
Well, do you keep your own book on you?
That's
a character
Well,
decision.
should I try my luck or should I just write that into my story? Because it's not unreasonable to believe, but I'm happy to let the dice permiss. I'm happy
Well,
to.
Yeah, give me a luck roll. Why not? If you really want to give this guy a signed copy of your book.
Of course I fucking do. Of course I do. Do you have to roll over, above, or below for luck?
Below.
Okay, I succeeded.
Succeed. Sure, you've got a copy of your book, which you can happily sign
my
and
friend.
give to Chuck.
Chuck, it just occurred to me there's always room in the suitcase of Harrison Dodge for a copy of his esteemed book, because what else do I read on long travels? No other novel matches the success of my own. Let me get you a copy.
Chuck,
Along
you want
for
to
the
make a
ride.
psychology roll for me,
Me?
Harrison? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just feel like I would. Hold on. I just feel like I would be like immune to the way that he feels in this situation, anyways.
Classic Harrison to start a conversation up winning and talk so much that he ends up losing.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Psychology, thou say?
Yeah.
Hit. Oh no! Oh my fucking god! This can't keep happening. My psychology stat is 56. I rolled a 57. Can I use luck?
You can use 2 luck points to
Thank you.
succeed.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can always use luck on pretty much any roll. Almost
Great.
any roll.
Well, I'm gradually draining my luck, because my ability to roll like exactly next to the number that I actually need is kind of impeccable.
Yeah. So you get from your successful psychology roll that like Chuck is not like your biggest fan or anything like that. He's like, "Oh, hey, I've heard of you. I read one of your books." And he's slightly off put by your demeanor of like trying to be his best friend and like trying to shuffle one of these books off on him. He seems to be a
just
pretty
trying to-
no nonsense guy, but he takes the book. He's thankful, but he did not ask for the book.
Chuck, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Till we meet again.
Likewise, I'll make sure this letter gets to Miss Carlyle.
Thank you, my sir. Thank you, my sir. My face is gonna go all red after saying that, and I'm just gonna saunter back to the car.
Gotcha.
Fucking Christ.
Hey, can
Wow. How'd it go?
Ah, great. He's a fan. He's a fan. He's read You Won't Believe What Happens. What we saw. Sorry, I forget.
Won't believe what we saw down there.
I gave away my last copy of the book, you see, so I guess we'd call it a success, yes.
Now that's a funny story.
That's the only way anyone reads it if they get it for free, hey?
I'm looking deep in Ruth's eyes as
Did
I'm
he
saying.
did he believe
yes, it
what
is
we
funny.
did down there?
Well, he believed that the things were the truth and nothing but, right, Ruth?
I don't know.
Ruth,
I
have you
haven't
read
seen
his
the
book?
No.
So
Why
wait,
would- why would-
Harrison,
I was
have a
there.
question. I have a question. If they do believe what happened down there, does that make you a shitty writer because you couldn't convince them to not believe what we saw down there?
Leon,
Can I have like rolled to like see if I've read the book just so I can call out that shit about the Ruth proposing to him?
well, no, because you didn't hear him say that.
Oh.
Yeah, and let's be real. None
Well,
of you
I
read
wa-
my book. None of
Okay.
you read my book. None of you guys
Yeah.
saw. I know it. You guys saw those books on the shelves. About a year after we got back from our expedition, and I think that your eyes rolled so hard that you almost went unconscious. So don't lie and pretend you
Harrison,
read my book.
I
because
even
you-
asked the librarian the last time I was in there if she had any, and she never heard of you.
Yeah, but I know why you did that, Clyde. I know that you just don't want to accept that I have books that people read, and that's fine.
Leon, can I get another drive auto roll to see how
Come
well
on,
you can
baby.
pull out of
See
Erica
if you roll
Carlisle's
the
driveway?
car.
Come
Oh,
on,
no.
don't crash into
Oh
the bus.
no!
Yes! Yes, I got a 19.
Thank you.
I succeeded.
Alright.
It's not a big success, but I succeeded.
Hey,
You-
Harrison,
You pull a nice 4-point turn in the driveway and
Yes.
make your
Very
way up
nice.
the country road
Pristine.
Very
towards.
nice.
As you
that
drive
was-
away,
I
I'm gonna look.
once blew my nose into a handkerchief and then I threw it on the ground and watched a garbage man pick it up. Does that make me an author because someone read my work?
Wow, you really sat and thought about that, Norman. You really, coded that in your head from start to finish, and it's like, I'm gonna zing him right here. He won't see it coming. You're pathetic.
Oh. Harrison's on a high right now from that friend he made.
I love that when you guys are having this conversation, like Clyde, Harrison, and Norman are all stuffed in the back seat, like shoulder to shoulder.
It's a perfect car trip. You gotta toss zingers at each other in a little car trip like that.
How would you know? You've lived on a boat your whole life. Is that how you deal on boats?
His whole life is
My
a road
best
trip.
friend died, and you dare say
I'm sorry. What? I didn't listen for like 2 seconds. I
Clyde's
feel
just
like
like
I missed
up
an
against the
important
corner doing this.
Yeah. All right. So
As we drive away, I'm gonna put my book down for a second. Like, can I ask a potentially stupid question? Did we
Yes,
give them
sure.
any return address or any way to contact us after they read the letter?
Well, the letter says that we're going to visit at a certain time in the future. So,
Right.
Like today,
Because
though. You said today, though. Like,
yeah, I believe the way it was stipulated is that you were going to drop off the letter, drive to Harvard, drive back, and then like see if you've been granted an audience.
mhm.
okay, so that certain time in the future is 10 hours from now, depending on what the time is.
Perfect.
Uh,
Seems
what
about
time
right.
did you guys wake up this morning?
I
Man,
mean,
8:30?
we have Leon in our party, so 5:30.
We'll call it. We'll say you woke
Close,
up at
5
8
o'clock.
8
5 o'clock.
You probably got on the road around 9.
Cool.
Leon had to get up for his morning workout. He
That's
was up
being
at 5.
generous.
Yeah.
So it's probably about 10:30 in the morning right now. We'll call it 11 because it probably took you a little bit of time to rent the car,
Cool.
and that's a generous time frame on my part. But
Appreciate
we'll
it.
call
Bob.
it 11 o'clock.
And then
Thanks
3
for always
hours
being
to get to
informed.
Harvard from here, right?
Yes. And normally I would have extended it since the conditions are crappy with all the snowstorms, but since Jared actually succeeded the drive auto roll, check that off, by the way, because you can improve it next time you.
I did indeed.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Jared.
Um,
Proud of you.
So that's good.
That's neat.
So yes, in about 3 hours' time, after driving through the New England countryside, you get to Massachusetts. You drive through Boston. If you have any reason to be in Boston, I don't know why you would, but you can make it up to Harvard University, no problem. I think Ruth is from Boston. Yeah,
Everyone doesn't know that.
that's true. No one knows that except for me.
I thought I might have something
Anyways.
younger.
All right. So after the 3 hour drive time, you make it to Harvard University. What would you like to do?
Sorry, that was a long car ride, folks. Can somebody remind me what the plan was, please? when we got to
get out.
Harvard.
And head to the library.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll follow Clyde.
Are we all following Clyde? Because I can do that too.
Yeah, I'm just
good.
leaving.
Okay, let's go
You're
then.
just leaving.
No,
You're
I'm
going
leaving the
somewhere
car.
else?
Sorry. No. When Harrison was talking, I just left the vehicle.
Yeah, I'm just sitting in the passenger seat of the rental car by myself, just talking. Oh, I guess I should get out of the car now.
All right. So you walk to the Widener Library, is what it's called. Do you remember who you're looking for? I know who you're looking for.
Miriam?
Yes, Miss Miriam Artwright.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's the one.
Miriam Atwright. So after speaking to a few people at the Widener Library, you are pointed to Miss Atwright. She's kind of like a middle-aged woman, quite thin, kind of like really, really light, wispy, kind of curly blonde hair, big, thick-rimmed glasses, kind of like, starting to show a little bit of age, but very friendly smile and complexion. And she's like, "Oh, hello. How can I help you?"
Which one of us has the letter?
I don't know.
Matter?
It was just put into the handout section because someone would have gotten it from Juju House.
Okay.
So it's in everyone's possession,
Gotcha.
technically.
We are associates of Jackson Elias, and he wrote you inquiring about a book that we would like to follow up on.
Oh, yes. I quite enjoyed Mr. Elias's writing. I was looking forward to meeting with him, but he never got back to me, unfortunately.
He's dead.
Oh,
There was an accident.
I'm very sorry to hear that. He was a wonderful author. Well, was there anything I could help you with in the meantime?
Yes, the types of books that he wanted to research. Do you remember what he was looking for?
Yes, he was looking for a book called Africa's Dark Sect, which mysteriously disappeared from the library a few months before Jackson was looking for it.
Did anybody
I
anticipate
remember
this?
reading in the letter that you had other books to suggest to him that may all be close to similar relevance.
Well, I was certainly willing to help him try and find anything that might aid his inquiries, but I wasn't entirely sure. I don't know if there are any books necessarily that have the same breadth of knowledge in them, and I didn't personally read the book that he was looking for.
Ah, I see. Well, we've come a long way. Would you have a African section that we could browse? Or I don't know if the rest of my colleagues are quite as learned.
Just call the other 4 people with you stupid.
Maybe a little.
I'll have you know, Clyde, I like to think I know books.
What's your education?
My education
Not
is
yours. I'm asking Clyde.
70.
I'm smarter than you, you fuck.
I don't
I'm
know
not
that.
as smart as either of you.
Intelligence is the intelligence score as well as the education score. So
What's your intelligence?
90.
Oof, I'm 80.
What? Man, I have not been giving you guys enough credit for being smart.
This is why we never got
Jared
along.
Jared rolled really well on his power and his intelligence, and then pretty average on everything else.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Well, I feel like power and intelligence are good qualities to have when you're a mere human being and not like a magical bard that can transform into a wolf.
You got it.
I'll try to
Yeah.
search
Yeah,
some things out.
She shows you to the African section. Is there anything in particular that you guys are looking for?
Anything on cults?
Yeah,
Cults?
bloody tongue.
Alright.
I forget.
I'll-
Sorry, I'm gonna jump out of this character for a second here. Jerry, do you ever share what you saw when you looked into the mask, or do you keep most of that to yourself?
I don't think
thought
he's. I don't know if he told you guys.
I didn't tell you guys. I just was like destroyed
Okay.
by what I saw.
Cool.
Then yeah, just the bloody tongue
Can
and
I-
the cults of Africa.
I am gonna bring up. I would like to look into deities, like or deities or mythology in Africa.
Okay.
Have anything on the Dark Pharaoh?
Okay, the Dark Pharaoh.
Can I look for the Mountain of the Black Wind?
Mountain of Black Wind. Okay, yes, you can do that.
Wow.
Harrison, would
sounds
you
like
like to look for
guys.
anything?
Is
His
there a
book.
coffee shop around here?
Sure. Yeah, you can go find a place to have a snack.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. You guys want anything at all? I'm just gonna go.
What?
Nothing.
God.
Are
Okay.
you doing drugs?
Yeah, all right. Good luck reading. I mean, caffeine might. Some considered caffeine to be a drug, and I'm about to put 10 tons of it in my body right now. So enjoy the car ride home.
10 tons.
As soon as Harrison leaves, I would also like to put like 5 minutes into searching for a book of his.
Okay. Yep. Make everybody except for Harrison make a library use check for me.
I really should have stayed.
Just a regular success for me, Jack.
Regular success. Okay.
That's a fail for me.
Okay.
That's a big fat fail for me too. Do you want?
Everybody except for Leon failed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Leon, what was it you were looking for? Just like
I was looking for like the demons and like deities and something to do with that bramble thing I saw.
Sure. You don't find anything necessarily that. Give me 1 second, actually. I might have a section on Harvard University's library in one of these books. 1 second. This might take a second for me to find.
This is a great library. You can find all sorts of things.
You would think.
Did you find any of Harris stuff?
No, I couldn't find a thing on Harrison.
Is that Keeper of Arcane Secrets? Can you please verify whether or not Clyde's claim is the truth?
I mean, technically he was rolling to find your book, and if he failed the roll, then technically he didn't find your book.
Doesn't mean it's not there. I just couldn't find it.
Well, okay, so you bring that information back to me, and I will tell you what a bad library explorer.
The Harvard University library is.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe you should be better.
Improve your library use, fool.
Yeah, buddy.
You're right. Harvard isn't a very good university.
Especially back then.
Back when it was but a measly startup.
And the book actually says Harvard is America's oldest and most prestigious university. Founded in 1636 as a Puritan college for the education of ministers, it was named after John Harvard, who, in 1638, bequeathed his entire library and half of his estate to the school. In case you were wondering.
Now I know.
So, like I said, a startup.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a small, like,
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
centuries startup.
Harvard's library is one of the finest collections in America, with over 2,785,000 books and pamphlets in its
I could have
catalog.
used that in my
Back then.
university papers.
Wow.
Can we do things that are historically inaccurate?
Haven't
Yeah.
invented the
No.
book.
Harvard.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Technically, you can. You can fuck with the timeline if you want to. So in about an hour or so, Leon, you find like some smatterings of, like, occult philosophy and theology and stuff of that nature, but you don't really find anything necessarily to do with what you think you're looking for.
Mhm.
Yeah, you imagine that whatever you saw and want to know about was pretty esoteric and tough to understand. You would have needed a higher degree of success to find anything. Really,
Darn.
any of you would have needed a higher degree of success because you all fucking failed. But
It's tough when you have
guys-
such a low check for those.
Anyways, so is there anything else anybody wants to do in Harvard right now?
Is there anything? Can I like search the library again for Carlisle expedition? Just any more information that we don't already know?
Sure. Yeah. What's anything in particular about the Carlisle expedition?
Maybe focusing more on Erica Carlisle and her search for her brother. If we're gonna meet her later
Gotcha.
today, I'd like to be able to grease the wheels a bit.
Yeah. Make another library use check.
Oh baby. I'll use luck.
Okay.
I got 31. I needed a 27 or 26. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So you're gonna use. You needed a 26.
Yeah, I need 26.
Okay. Yeah. So just mark down the however many points you used to get it to 26. Yeah, you managed to find some stuff about Eric Carlisle. One thing that the book mentions is that it's a little bit tough doing research into individuals, because in the 20s and really up until kind of like the 50s, it was kind of seen as taboo to keep like a huge written catalog about people. People were kind of seen as, entitled to their private life, and boy, did that philosophy go out the fucking window.
I was just thinking.
So what you do find is that following her brother's disappearance, the Carlisle estate and kind of all of their funds and properties and all their revenue began to increase drastically, much to the delight of shareholders, who many felt had kind of begun to be squandered when her older brother was in charge of the estate. You don't find too much out about her because it is difficult to learn about individuals through this, but she does seem to be an educated, capable businesswoman who's in charge of a very large fortune.
I have
Okay.
a question.
Yes.
If I theoretically took a book out on a skill, let's say medicine, would I be able to read that book enough? Would I be able to read that book enough to like put the check mark there so I can be like, yeah, I can upgrade my medicine next
So
time?
the way it actually works is when you have downtime, like when you're traveling on a ship, everybody has a chance to like do something that they want to do. So if you want to improve a skill you already have, or if you want to improve a skill that you don't have, or if you want to read a book like Graydon is probably going to do with his downtime, then everybody is allowed to do that during travel.
Okay. It's a library, but I can't buy books from this library, can I? I would, if I could, I'd like to buy a book on medicine.
I don't know how textbooks work in the 1920s, but you could probably buy a book on medicine from the university bookstore, assuming.
Yeah,
that it has
I would like to go find the university bookstore and buy a book on medicine.
All right, it
Assassin
costs you
poses a student.
it costs you $300 like a textbook
My
nowadays.
gosh!
You know. Yeah, I don't know what a.
I
don't know
need
what
to
a
keep the
textbook
receipt so I
costs.
can give it to the, to the guy.
So Jack, how far does that go? Like, could we reasonably like try and develop like any of our skills that we have as long as we pick the right book?
You could, yeah. And it doesn't have to be a book. You could theoretically just. The way I'm going to do it is that if you want to learn something during your travels, within reason, I'm going to give you a chance to do it. So it's like, I want to learn how to fight with a sword while I'm on the boat. Just so happens that there's a fencing instructor traveling in first class who you
Okay.
meet, and he's willing to teach you how to use a sword while you're journeying on the boat or whatever.
Okay.
Like, there's some things that don't make sense. Like, you couldn't improve your drive auto skill while you're on a boat.
What?
How would you learn? Like, that's kind of a you got to do type
Sit
deal,
at the
you know?
front of the boat with the steering wheel in hand and pretend like
Now-
you're driving the boat.
Cool.
That would be operate ship or navigate or something like that.
You know, maybe I will spend the time on the boat listening to my quest mates and
Mhm.
develop my listen skill. Really
Sure.
learn how to open up.
Yeah, you do need to develop that.
Actually, I'll have you know, I already have quite
But
a developed listen skill.
I
but
don't.
just
I
never
don't
used-
need to know what you guys are going to do right now because you're not on the boat right now. Right now, you're in Harvard's library.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking about it. You know, I might have a long trip ahead of me, and I'm just trying to make some
Gotcha.
plans.
You sure took the boat after all, I guess.
We'll put the medical textbook at like $10, Jerry, which would be quite
Perfect.
expensive for a book at this time. But it's a textbook, so I imagine it's expensive.
Yeah.
That's just a guess. I don't know what it would actually be. But
All right, I'll buy it.
okay. Anything else you guys want to do while you're in Harvard?
Couldn't find shit, so no.
Get a sweater that says I went to Harvard.
Norman, yeah, he gets to Harvard University. He like goes and steals a Letterman jacket from the football team.
Do they have any Harvard trench coats that I could possibly buy? No one would suspect a man of Harvard carrying a shotgun underneath it.
Weirdly enough, Harvard doesn't sell trench coats.
Darn it. They're not up to date with fashion.
The bookstore
Yeah.
employees are a little bit taken aback by the man in a trench coat who just walked into the bookstore, bought a book on medicine, and walked out.
Are there some like nice pens with like engraved Harvard written on it that I could get?
Goodness
Sure,
me,
why
just
not?
go to the school here if it matters that much to you. We got a quest to do.
The campaign's
pens.
over. We're enrolling at Harvard. Get those
Yeah.
SAT
Sims
scores
University.
up, boys.
Filler episode.
Yeah.
Our
How do-
campaign's like years longer than anybody else's because we all had to like convocate together and everything.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So are you guys done here, or do you want to do anything?
I'll buy the pens. I'm serious about that.
Oh my
Yeah, all right.
God,
You
come
can
on.
buy a pen. That's probably within
Alright.
your daily spending limit.
Nice. I'm gonna add Harvard pen to my inventory.
Yeah.
Great. I hope it helps you.
Can
Yeah.
I get a Harvard coffee
Can't wait to
mug?
steal a girl from right under you. Just
Yes.
ripping this bad boy out.
Any souvenirs you want from Harvard University bookstore, you can buy them. You don't
Okay.
need to ask me.
We
Okay,
emerge
thank
with
you.
bags and bags.
Well, I figured Miss Carlisle would take us more seriously if we came up in Harvard sweatshirts.
Wow! Oh my
So
God!
you show up with a shirt. It's like, I went to Harvard and all I got was this fucking shirt.
Here's a pen.
Oh.
All right,
Oh,
I'm gonna head back to the car. I'm
Uh.
just gonna sit in the back and read my book.
you got it.
When did you become such a bookworm, Clyde?
I'm gonna head back to the car as well, and if no one
Got
else
it.
is coming back to the car right away, I'm gonna read my book.
I'm gonna go
Mhm.
try to
Who's
drive
gonna
the car
drive?
around and practice in the parking lot.
Oh,
Practice my diving skills.
one thing for you, Clyde, since you succeeded on that library use check, you find that Roger Carlyle was kicked out of Harvard University before he
Oh,
disappeared.
don't get the. Let's shred the hoodies. It's not a good idea. She won't like
That
them.
posed as one of his friends. No, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea.
We all just wear our Harvard hoodies to make sure people know we're telling the truth.
All right.
All right.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay. So, are you guys driving back now? I'd say it probably took you 2 hours or so. You would have got. It's probably about 5 o'clock now. Or sorry, 4 o'clock. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon because you would have gotten to the university at around 2.
Perfect. Let's head back.
Did we seriously go all that way to learn that he got kicked out of Harvard?
I was
Yeah,
hoping to learn
basically.
more, but yeah, that's basically all we learned.
Unfortunately,
I
there's
enjoyed it.
not much more about that
Coffee.
section. Yeah. Sorry, and there's not much I can really give you. It was a good idea, but sometimes them's the breaks.
It's all part of the adventure.
Yeah. So about another 3
I will
hours
always
later,
cherish our trip to Harvard.
you're gonna be like face down in a trench after getting stabbed by a cultist. It's like, man, I wish I was still at Harvard.
The last thing you see are all the souvenirs that fell out of your jacket as you fell.
And I'll be like
All right.
strapped in a fucking like in the corner about to could be like, no, I have one last trick up my sleeve, pull up the coffee bag and just be like, this was supposed to be a gun.
It's gonna be like the first scene of Citizen Kane where the snow globe rolls out of his hand, except it's a Harvard University coffee mug.
Rosebud.
Harvard. So, about 3 hours later, you guys make it back to the gates of the Carlisle estate. Chuck is at the entrance, and as you pull up, he kind of gives you a hand wave and opens the gates for you.
Oh, let's go.
Good job,
Shit,
Harrison.
bro.
I got like my heart started racing for a second because I thought he was
Wait.
gesturing to me specifically.
Is
and
Norm
thought of
driving?
freaking Chuck again.
I thought you were driving. I don't care who's driving.
Wait, Leon, you're not driving? How did we get here?
You're
All right,
not driving, and I'm not driving.
All right, I'll continue driving. Sure.
All right.
Cool, thanks.
So you
Glad
roll
you're on
through
board.
the beautiful estate, the beautiful yet but snowy estate. There's still been quite a few snowstorms at this point in the year, but you imagine in the spring, summer that this is very beautiful, verdant estate, long manicured lawns, probably some beautiful topiary bushes, large gardens, stuff like that. As you pull up the drive to the main mansion, you see there's a gentleman standing at the front door.
Go on, Harrison. It was your
I was
letter.
gonna say one of us should
come on,
probably speak to
Harrison.
him.
Let's
Hello, sir. My name is Harrison Dodge. I believe I left a letter for Erica Carlisle's consideration. We're here for our appointment with her.
So you see a sort of thin, wiry man wearing a nice suit, kind of like graying dark hair, a very pointed nose, and sort of a light goatee over his face, of course. Yes, I'm Bradley Gray, and I'm Miss Carlisle's lawyer. Miss Carlisle was quite impressed with the letter that you sent her, and is waiting for you inside. Would you care to come in with me?
It would be my pleasure. Accompaniment. Let us go in.
Man, Harrison, you got away with words, don't you?
Yes. Sorry, I used all of my word-using energy on writing Erica Carlisle an amazing letter.
What did you say, by the way? You clearly
that
moved
is-
her.
That is for her eyes and my heart only. Are
I'm
you
pretty
jealous
sure
of
we
me?
all read the letter before we sent it, didn't we?
I think you did, but Ruth clearly wasn't paying attention. So
Please, please don't bring a ring in there, Harrison. We don't need any
that's
more
okay.
proposals.
The mysterious ring shall stay strongly on my finger where it
You know what,
belongs.
though? I will say, Harrison, if she said yes, you'd be setting yourself up pretty nice here.
You might
Why,
want to
leave
try it just
Matilda?
to see.
This is a sensitive situation, so believe it or not, I will actually not be doing all the talking here. I will be. I
No,
will
but
be
you'll talk to
sitting
the
back.
reporter.
Well, it's because I thought that was a manageable
Can we not
situation. As far as
argue
I'm
in
concerned,
this
it was a success.
luxurious house?
Okay, can we pretend we like each other for just a few minutes, folks? Can we do that, please?
So Bradley shows you to the parlor with very nice furniture. It all seems to be like high quality wood, like teak and stuff like that. Very nicely upholstered. There's some tea and refreshments laid out, and kind of lounging on a large couch at one end of the room is a very fashionable young woman in her mid-20s. She's got like striking blonde hair that's cut quite short in the typical 1920s style. What we would today maybe call like a pixie cut, I guess. She's wearing very nice clothes, stands maybe taller than the average woman, maybe around 5'9", 5'10". Although she's sitting right now, so you can't tell that. But and this is Eric Carlisle.
Eric Carlisle?
Yes, Erica Carlisle.
Okay, thank you. I heard Eric Carlisle the first time, and I was like,
Eric Jones the
I
call.
thought, yeah. Hello. We weren't expecting to see me here. Miss Carlisle, a pleasure to finally meet you in person. I hold out my hand, of which I cannot
course,
stop
yes.
from shaking because
She-
I'm astounded by her beauty.
She reaches her hand out and shakes your hand. Of course. And who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
Well, my name is Harrison Dodge, and with me are my companions Clyde, Leon, Ruth, and Norman.
And take off my hat and reach for her hand as well.
And she shakes it. She shakes the hand of anybody who
Yeah,
is looking for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
offer it.
Sure.
Now you've written me a very interesting letter, but I have to wonder what is it that you want from me?
Okay. I don't really want to say the wrong thing here, so I'm thinking about this. Well, Miss Carlisle, have you ever heard of the famous author Jackson Elias?
Let's see if she has. I may have heard something pertaining to his works in the past. Not sure if I've ever read any of his books myself, but I believe I've heard of the man.
Well, America, Jackson was a great man, a great adventurer, and an outstanding storyteller. And his life came to an end in a hotel room by despicable, disgusting men. And it is our duty to chase down those men and hold them responsible for your actions. But
When I was reading the paper the other day, I do believe I heard about that, and I'm sorry to hear about that. I don't remember it mentioning the murderers in any capacity.
well, Erica,
Can I do a psychology check to see if she's like
trying to
suspicious of
pull
us or
the-
trying to like accuse us or
I think it's pretty
You should-
obvious she's suspicious.
You can certainly make a psychology check if you want to.
all right, I extremely succeeded.
Wow.
Yeah, she.
I'm sorry,
I
no,
mean,
sorry, hard success, not
Hard-
extremely success.
Yeah, she's. I mean, she's intelligent, and she is not distrustful of you, but certainly like has her guard up for good reason. You know, 5 people she's never met before just rolled up into her mansion.
Okay, I
We
think I'm
also
on a roll
see.
here.
Sorry, I forgot to mention this. At the corner of the room is presumably Erica's bodyguard, who is a mountain of a man who stands at least 6'5" and is just massive. Looks like he's ready to go should anything happen.
Well, Erica, because you had the good graces to invite us into your home, I feel no need to safeguard you from the truth. We are on a dangerous path to get revenge for our friend, and we know more than we'd like to let on to any one person. But the reason we're here to see you today, Erica, and forgive me for my indecence, but we believe that the same people responsible for Jackson Elias's death may also be responsible for your brother's death. And that is why we're here to see you, because I'm certain that you are aware of the feeling of vengeance and hate for someone of whom you do not know burning within you, and we feel it too. And we are here to act on that urge and defeat those responsible.
Now, Harrison,
Yes. Yes, Clyde.
while I agree that we are upset and disheartened over
Thank you.
our late friend, it's not only vengeance that drives us, it's also the search for knowledge and answers. There are pieces that don't add up.
And
There
we're
are
probably
things
gonna
that we don't
die if we
understand.
don't figure this out.
Yeah, sure, Norman. Have some tea.
So you see, Erica, our predicament is
Could I get
predicted.
either a fast talk roll or a persuade roll from one of you three who just talked, and whoever does it gets a bonus die because you guys had some pretty good words to say there.
Can I? Is that okay? I feel like it makes sense. Oh shit.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry.
It's your choice of fast talk or persuade.
Well, I have no investment in fast talk, which I think I'm going to work on our boat ride, by the way. So persuade it is. Oh no! I rolled a 92.
You can push the roll.
Bonus die.
You got a bonus.
Oh, sorry. Okay, well, that's good. So the 2 stays. I just re-roll the 10, the 10 die, right?
You got it.
Come on. Oh, I rolled a 12.
You rolled a 12.
That would be a extreme success.
Dope.
Well, you've certainly piqued my interest, which is not always an easy thing to do. I will say that I'm a busy woman and it is getting late, so I would ask frankly for you to get to the point about what you want of me.
Yes, of course, Erica. Ruth, Leon, what is the point of our?
If I may, Miss Carlyle.
You may.
Our friend had some hunches and was following your brother's expedition, and things didn't add up, and we believe he was targeted for following this path. He mentioned in one of his notes that there was some books kept in a safe, a family safe, here that perhaps would have helped him in his research.
I believe my brother did have a few books in the library, though I do have to be honest, I'm not entirely sure why you're so interested in his involvement in all of this. It all seems quite above the board that he was murdered by tribesmen in Kenya. I don't know how that relates to your friend's death.
Well, it's what was reported, yes, but I believe our late friend had reason to believe that that wasn't the case, and that perhaps there was a small chance that some of the members of the expedition were still alive. Now,
Hmm.
obviously, this sounds ridiculous, but he was also targeted by some people that we've personally had a run-in with, and they don't seem like they mess around. We're just looking for answers.
Clyde, do you want to make a fast talk roll for me?
It was 2 points away from a hard success, so it's just a regular success.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's all you needed in this case. Erica kind of lets her guard down a little bit, kind of eases back into her seat. I will say, although it doesn't necessarily seem plausible, all of your theories regarding my brother, his African expedition was a little bit odd, even for someone like him who was rather eccentric at times, shall we say.
In what way
Yeah.
would it seem odd?
Well, Roger was always a bit of a interesting character, shall we say. In the months leading up to his expedition, he had been spending time, another foolish whim, with a black woman from Kenya. Make psychology rolls after she says that.
Everyone?
Yeah, anyone who wants to.
I failed.
Extreme success.
Extreme success. Okay.
Normal success.
Fail.
Anybody who succeeds on the psychology roll gets the impression that Erica has a bit of a racist disposition towards whoever this black woman was that Roger had been spending his time with.
Hmm.
In the book, there are quotes, not using the bad N word, but using the slightly less bad N word. I don't want to say that on stream, so I'm not going to. But you gather from her remarks that Roger's entanglement with an uneducated African woman only helped underline how depraved his tastes had become. That's a quote from the book.
Hmm.
So my brother had been spending time with somebody who puts ridiculous ideas in his head, and he'd been having trouble sleeping, and I recommended him to one of the best psychologists in New York, but that only furthered some of his delusions, and soon enough he was off on his expedition, and that was the end of that. There were times when I tried to help him, not only with the psychologist, who was a personal friend of mine, but he would sometimes disappear for days at a time into New York, saying he'd been to Harlem, and that was that. He was obsessed with Nchanka Bune, I believe was the name of the woman he was spending time with.
Can you say that again?
Nchanka Bune.
Sorry, keep going.
Nichonka is the first name. And then Bune is Bunay.
Did he ever go into more detail about his journeys in Harlem?
No, he didn't tell me anything, typically.
Did he return from such journeys seeming visibly or even mentally different than when he first embarked on them?
Oh, well, in the months leading up to his departure from New York, Roger had become even more eccentric, but so yes, I would say his disposition changed quite a bit during his trips to New York and to Harlem.
If it's not too much trouble, would you mind letting us take a look at those files from the psychologist? Our friend was also different, erratic in his compared to his normal state.
Well, I don't have Dr. Houston's files. Those would have belonged to him, and I don't know what would have happened to them, since Dr. Houston was also on the expedition and unfortunately died in Kenya as well.
Did you know the other expedition members?
I had met some of them in the past. Were there any in particular that you wanted to know about?
I'm curious about Jack Brady. From what I understand, he was a confidant of Rogers.
Oh, Jack was fanatically loyal to Roger. Roger had helped him out. Jack was set to be tried for prison, potentially killed after a bar fight in California. Roger was at university in California at the time and assembled some of the greatest legal minds in America to help defend Jack's case. And ever since then, Jack had become Roger's closest friend and bodyguard. I didn't know Jack very well myself, but he spent enough time around Roger that I got to know him some. But I really only know the background as to how the two of them met. I don't know much about Jack himself.
Interesting.
Could I trouble you for a cup of coffee?
Oh, of course. And she motions a servant in, and
I brought my own cup.
Oh God!
the servant takes the cup and goes and gets you, begins the process of getting you a cup of coffee.
Forgive my friend Erica. It seems the eccentric types kind of flock to this line of work.
Well, you seem an interesting bunch, so I don't mind giving you a bit of my time. I seem to have some of it at the present.
Well, we shan't take much more if we don't need to.
I haven't
Anything
got
else?
my coffee yet,
Okay,
bro.
okay. Well,
I,
I'm just
and
nervous.
about those books, Erica, I'm not asking to take them or anything, but just a gander, just take some notes.
Make a persuasion check.
Success.
Success. She kind of thinks about it for a minute. All right, yeah. Come along to the library. I can let you take a look at them.
Two
Thank
libraries
you
in
very
one
much.
day.
And
What is
excited.
this,
A
a
few-
read session?
A few minutes later, the servant comes back with your cup of coffee, Norman. The cup is a little bit cleaner than when you gave it to them.
Ah, thank you.
So you're led upstairs to a beautiful, beautiful library. It looks like there's thousands of books in here. Some are like old editions of like famous books, like full folios of Shakespeare. Some of them in locked glass cases, stuff like that. There's tons and tons of literature in here. Beautiful oak and wood furniture. Big billiards table on one end. Ladders going up to reach higher shelves. On one end of the room, where it looks like some of the just miscellaneous books are kept, Erica pulls out one book and accesses a panel which slides open, revealing a safe, which she then proceeds to open. So within the safe, there are 4 books. One of the books is called the Nakotic Manuscripts. One is in French called Sélection des livres divins. The third book is called Amongst the Stones. And the fourth book is called Life as a God. I first discovered Roger's books before he left for his expedition. I read some of them, and They're quite disturbing, shall I say. I must say, I'm not going to part with these. Seeing your interest in them has made me want to get them appraised, but you're more than welcome to take a look at them for now.
That is
I would-
very generous of you.
I would like to, or did you, when you were reading them, was there any mention of deities or anything? Demons, deities?
That's
Leon,
a question.
one book is literally called To Become a God. Come on.
Maybe.
That sounds like a book you'd write, Harrison, about yourself.
Have you ever?
That's very high praise.
That gets a bit of a chuckle out of Erica when you say that, Leon.
Evan, your mic is really quiet.
Have you?
Come on, just finish
thought
the sentence.
emerges.
Come on.
Could you fill my water?
Have you heard the Dark Pharaoh before?
I thought you were gonna say, "Have you heard of the Muffin Man?" The Muffin Man. Have you heard?
I can't say that I have. My apologies. I only glanced through the first book here, the Nakotic Manuscripts. Nakotic is spelled Pnakotic. There's a silent P at the beginning.
I was about to say, did not expect that.
PN what?
Pnakotic.
Okay.
I glanced over this first book. It didn't have any mention of mythology. It seems to be some sort of account of a lost city, but what I did read of it seemed very disturbing, and I didn't go much further than that. So, out of these 4 books, that's the only one that I read personally.
Very interesting.
Looks like we got some reading to do.
Yep, I would like to read and look for any mention of a demon.
Okay. So, out of these 4 books, one of them is in French. None of you have any skill points in French as a language, as far as I know.
How would we know?
Devin, we can't hear you, man.
I'm from the East Coast of Canada.
Well, then why didn't you put some fucking points in French?
Because no one wants to be able to speak French.
Are there pictures?
So you'll see on your character sheet, those of you who don't know, there's a section for languages. It's one of the skills. So there's language other and language your own. So your own language equal your base level is whatever your education is. So if you have a high education, you have high proficiency with your native language, which for all of you is English. If you know any other languages, you write them into one of the boxes underneath the language other section. If you don't have proficiency with that language, then you need to roll really fucking well to do anything with it.
If I were to find a French dictionary or something, could I look for certain words in the book? Or is that going to
No, that's not going to
Control.
work.
Peter did the 1920 of Control F.
I did
Remember
enough French assignments to know that doesn't work.
it's
Assignments for you to know that doesn't work.
it's about like 7:30 on a Sunday night at this point. You probably don't have enough time to peruse a French dictionary to try and figure out how to read this book.
She's already urged us in the direction of leaving, so I don't think we have the luxury of reading a whole French dictionary and cross-referencing it for each special word.
You can skim the other 3 books though.
I would like to skim
Yes,
the
and
other
that's
three
what
books
we
for
will
demons.
do.
Very much.
Okay, so tell me, who's going to read the Nakotic Manuscripts? Who's going to read Amongst the Stones? And who's going to read Life as a God?
I would like to read the first one.
Dibs God.
Stones.
Okay, I'll wait till they're done and then I'll read all 3 after, Jack.
Wow. Look at this dude.
So I need an English roll from everybody who's reading a book.
Extreme success.
Ooh, that's a fail.
Oh,
Guess I don't
You
know what
failed.
needs to be got after
The
all.
author failed. Sorry,
No.
Matt. That's just
I-
funny.
I am gonna push 5 luck points to succeed.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's okay. Everyone has an off day, Harrison.
Hey,
Um,
I've rolled like 2 or 3 extreme successes today, so you take them, you win.
Yeah,
them,
you're
lose
gonna
them.
have to fail in some
Alright,
areas, and unfortunately, this is one of them.
Yeah.
so we're gonna get to Leon in a second because he's like, I'm gonna read all 3 books. So who succeeded and who failed?
failed.
I succeeded.
Failed.
Okay, you.
I thought
so
someone got an extreme success.
Jared
I was
did,
talking about
but
getting
he's.
extreme
Oh,
successes.
gotcha. So you read Life as a God, right, Matt?
Well, I didn't because I bad.
Oh, sorry, Evan. You wrote Amongst the Stones, right?
Amongst Stones.
Okay. So it is English. In English, it was written by Justin Jeffrey in 1918. It's handwritten, and it's a volume of poems, which, yeah, it's a volume of poems, and it's bound in a really weird sort of black leather that you don't recognize.
Is that all
So,
I get of it?
Oh, you get a few other things. One poem that catches your eye is a poem called "The Trappings of a Queen," which seems to regale a story about an Egyptian queen and some of the regal paraphernalia that she would have had. You also take
Uh-oh.
one point of sanity loss from skimming the book, and your Cthulhu mythos rating goes up by 1 point.
Dope.
Which means your sanity drops. Your maximum sanity drops by 1 point as well.
My max sanity or my current sanity?
Both drop by 1 point.
Dope.
How exciting!
Okay. So the other you two failed. So Leon, you got 1 success. I need 2 other English rolls for the other 2 books in English.
Okay. That one is a regular success.
Okay.
And that one, if you have, so I got a 70 and then a 0 on the other dice. Would that be 80 then?
Yeah, that's an 80.
Okay, then I failed that one.
Okay.
Oh, actually, can I push it with luck? I have
Uh,
a 79 in to get a success.
Yeah, you can use a luck point
Okay.
to succeed.
I'll push it so I succeed on that one too.
All right. Okay. So, the Nakotic Manuscripts is the first one you read. It's like a collection of books that sort of detail a lost city in great detail.
Okay.
That city is said to be somewhere in the deserts of Western Australia.
Ooh. That's a good tip.
For that one,
You said
So-
Western Australia?
yes. So for reading it, Leon, you lose 8 points of sanity,
Okay.
and your Cthulhu Mythos skill is increased by 3. So your max sanity drops by 3. You also read Amongst the Stones, so you got all the same information that Norman got from it.
Dope book.
From reading Amongst the Stones, you lose 3 points of sanity.
Yo.
and you gain +1 in the Cthulhu Mythos skill,
So I lose +1 to my
max sanity as well.
max sanity. Okay.
This man walking around with a shotgun is just slowly losing his sanity right in front of our eyes.
I'm pretty sure I'm still like the most sane person out of
You
anyone.
probably
here.
are.
Jared has had the most outrageous sanity up until now, so
The Nakotic Manuscripts, also, you do not know the author. Now, Life as a God, the third and final book, is also written in English by a man named Montgomery Crompton in 1810. It's duodecimo, so kind of a small book. And it seems to be bound in some sort of skin as well.
Okay.
Bless you.
It's very
Thank you.
his writing is very rambly, and he talks about religious facts. He seemed to be some sort of priest, and it does mention the Pharaoh of Darkness. You lose 2 points of sanity for reading it, and your Cthulhu Mythos rating goes up by 2.
God.
Okay.
I haven't seen
Um,
someone lose that much sanity points from reading a book since.
Oh
someone
fuck,
was a
that's right.
kite runner
You
in high
just
school.
lost more than 5 sanity points in one go.
Uh-oh.
You're gonna have a bout of madness.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Hmm.
good.
Reading scary.
And
Okay,
he's
so-
a pretty lady too. Oh.
Pharaoh of Darkness. Okay.
He's already rambling.
Do I have to roll anything for this, or?
You are going to in just 1 second for me.
Okay.
Can I update the books? He's like whatever one he's not reading.
Yeah, I need to do Jared first though.
Okay.
So, I need you to make an intelligence roll for me, Jared.
Okay. All right, that is a hard success.
Okay, that was the one you wanted to fail. So,
Oh,
Oh.
Well, I have a very that'd be very hard for me to fail the intelligence.
Wow. And look how that turned out for you.
all right.
oh, fear of guns, please.
Don't you fucking put that on me. Don't you dare. Don't even smile about that. Leon's dead to me if he's scared of guns.
So as he's reading, you kind of see Leon's eyes glaze over a little bit from just taking in all of this information, and he goes kind of catatonic for a minute. Now I will roll to see.
Can't wait till I'm afraid of books. Just like chuck it. Ah!
Chuck it right at the pretty lady's face. Or Ruth.
So
Oh, Ruth. You're
Whoa.
not the
You
pretty
can-
lady no more. You're just Ruth.
you can see as Leon is reading through these books, he kind of just like does go catatonic, and Leon, you cannot move for 8 rounds. You cannot hear, you cannot see. You are just like blank slate.
Ugh.
Oh,
He's
I didn't
standing-
develop a
he's-
fear?
No, I
Oh,
roll on
thank
I roll
goodness.
on a table to see what happens. You didn't get the fear one.
Oh, thank God. You know what? I'll be catacomb. Okay, so I can't hear, can't
So-
see.
And you, as you're reading, you like drop the book on the floor, and you,
Leon? What was in the book? What did you read? Leon? Leon.
Since I'm in a state since I'm in this state, I'm gonna go move my laundry over because I can't
Okay,
talk for
sounds
8
good.
or listen.
in Life
shoot,
as
that
a
is
God,
so efficient.
there is a handout that I need to show you. So I will put that in the handout section.
Well, Harrison, I would imagine that's what happens if we were to read your book too.
Our friend is literally a stiff board right now, and you have to get a jab in there, Norman.
Of course. I mean, I read
Supportive.
I read one of those books. What if I get frozen like that? I wouldn't want to leave this world without saying one last thing to you.
All right, just
All
give me
right.
45 minutes to decode this cursive.
This one's not that bad.
Yeah,
No.
I can read it if you need. So,
Yeah, might as well. Because we are streaming, so.
yep, its external angles were magnificent and most strange. By their hideous beauty, I was enraptured and enthralled, and I thought myself of the daylight fools who adjudged the housing of this room as mistaken. I laughed for the glory they missed. Through the twisted doors to the jeweled throne of darkness, I came with all reverence and humility, to gaze upon scenes of celestial majesty and rebirth. When the 6 lights were lit and the great words said, then he came, in all the grace and splendor of the higher planes, and I longed to sever my veins so that my life might flow into his being and make part of me a god.
Yeah.
Edgy.
Very edgy.
Gonna go ahead and mark that with a star.
You can see
That's
Erica kind of comes over and looks at Leon and picks the book up and puts it back. It's like,
Erica, does this look familiar to you at all? Is this something you've seen Raja do? Just-
no, this is new and quite unsettling, if I may say so.
Well, I mean,
I
once
would
you
agree.
know the guy personally, it's still pretty unsettling, actually.
And clearly, something that he read was a lot to take in.
Hmm.
Which book was he like reading when it first occurred?
We'll say he got to the last book. Technically, he should have had the bout of madness after he read the first book because he lost 8 points of sanity there. But that would take a long time to like keep re-rolling because every time you experience temporary insanity, more sanity loss just keeps checking over and making you more insane. So
God.
I don't want to do that right now because that would just bog down this scene a little bit too much.
Okay.
Anyways,
While that was all going on, an attempt to appraise
sorry you lagged out there, Graydon.
one of the other books.
Yes, one of the other books. What would you like to do with one of the other books?
Appraise it, like just judge its value, and whatever an appraisal.
Yeah,
Is-
make an appraisal roll.
Can't you just do that? Don't you need to be like an expert in it or something like that? Like,
The appraise skill is there.
I succeeded.
Peter, don't you need to be
succeeded.
an expert in any of this shit to do it?
I guess.
You can't put an exact number on it, but based on kind of what you've seen the past couple of days, could be quite valuable potentially.
Okay.
Potentially, it's tough to say.
Okay.
To the right buyer, maybe, but who the hell wants creepy books? Pretty niche
I'm
market.
sure the Juju House did.
Yeah.
All their books are burnt to the ground now.
Well, the one book that you got out of that house is the one that was stolen from Harvard.
We should have returned it for a prize. Maybe we all could have gotten free coffee bucks.
Well, Clyde would rather read it
Yep.
and see what
Nope.
he can learn.
That's my book.
At this point, Eric is like, is there anything else I can help you with? I think your friend might need to be attended to.
I'm sure he just needs some fresh air. Norman, give me a hand.
Sure.
I
You
need
guys-
you to pick the senile and weak old man to help
Yeah.
carry him.
You
He's
guys-
a fisherman. He's not as
we-
weak as he
I'll
looks.
have you know, I'm 69 years old, sir.
Does
guys-
is that supposed to do anything other than
you
accentuate
you
my point?
basically
or-
have to carry Leon out of the
Okay.
room. Like he cannot move on his own right now.
I suppose we'll be taking our leave then, Miss Carlyle, but can I just say it's been a pleasure to make your acquaintance, and thank you again for allowing us to see you on such short notice.
Of course, and maybe our paths will cross again.
I sure hope so. Anyways, bye.
Yes, that would be lovely. I would very much appreciate your time. I think
You're saying this as you're like dragging Leon out. Of the
Yeah,
room?
I am. I'm straight up. I'm like bonking his head on everything as I leave.
Lovely.
and-
Thank you for the hospitality.
yes, very much. And I'm a bit of a bookworm myself. I value those books, potentially worth quite a lot of money, but I also don't believe it's something that you should put out into the world that you own.
Well, make me an offer.
Leon.
For-
Jesse
hold on.
is fund. We have the funds.
I know we have funds. I don't want to know which one that we should be going for here.
Can you get
All
a
of
receipt
them.
from a private seller?
Sorry, what was that? I was reading the.
Am I still catatonic?
Yes, you're still catatonic.
Okay.
Can you get a receipt from a private seller?
I don't know. Can we? Well, what seems fair to you? Would you say 600 for the lot?
600 for the lot. One second.
One's a French book we can't even read. We just find some Frenchmen to read it for us that are gonna lose sanity.
You're gonna make a French person go insane.
Do we want these books? Like, I'm
Do
kind
you?
of just taking the lead here.
Do you want these books?
No,
That's
I
on you.
think that it's valuable resources to have.
That's what I'm thinking.
And, what is our Jesse Hughes fund if not to, allow us to get one step closer to.
It's also not the Jesse Hughes Fund.
Yes,
Oh,
it
wait,
is.
yeah, it is.
Never mind.
Yes, it is. You were the one who suggested that name.
You are.
Sorry, I thought I was like, oh, it's his secret name.
Let's see. Call it 700 and you have a deal.
Make sure
Uh,
you get Geek Squad protection.
I think that could be arranged. Would you, is there any chance we could get a receipt for the transaction?
I can certainly have my men draft something like that up.
Excellent. This has been a incredible evening.
Do you have the money with you now?
Yeah, I can just pull out of my assets, right? Or do I actually have to have?
You would have to get a way to like get the money out of the assets.
Okay.
Like assets are like things that you own. So
I guess we should have bought a car after all.
Just yeah, we're just gonna leave this T model Ford for you, okay?
Uh, I don't have that kind of cash on me, no, but we could return tomorrow, perhaps tomorrow morning.
I can have my men waiting.
Excellent.
Very good.
Come on, Leon.
Yeah. All right. So you guys make your way into the night, unless there's anything else you want to do. But kind of seems like Erica's kind of like trying to get you out of the door.
Yeah, she was nice.
Aside from the
Oh.
racism, but other than that, pretty
Well,
nice.
yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that.
But I mean, it's
Good with that.
1925, so you're
Nothing
probably
like a
used to
little
that.
Casual racism.
All right, we tie Leon to the roof and we head off.
Leon does come too once he gets into the fresh air.
Oh, fresh. Well, I'm like holding my hands. Where's the book? I was holding a
Leon.
book.
Leon,
What was going on with you there?
I don't know. I was reading and all of a sudden I don't know. I just completely went dark.
Okay, Leon. Well, why don't you cool it a little bit? Maybe let's keep you away from books for a while, and when it all seems like you might be on the right track again, we'll start you with a nice Harrison Dodge novel. How does that sound?
yes, so some light reading. Some like, maybe a pop-up book.
Nothing too complex, that's for sure.
Actually, my pop-up books are some of my best sellers, so
His kids book series. Go
Do you,
ahead.
do you think you're good to drive, Leon?
No. Yeah.
I'll
think
drive.
I think I actually wanted to talk to you, Norm. You were looking. You mentioned a Pharaoh of Darkness, or was that not Norm?
Yeah. Remember, Augustus said he was the Dark Pharaoh.
Oh, I read in the Life is a God or Life as a God book. I read about this Pharaoh of Darkness mentioned.
What about it?
Jack, what did I learn about the Pharaoh of Darkness?
I put a handout into the handout section, which I read to everyone else, but you were doing your laundry, so
Okay.
no.
Never mind. I already know.
You learned that. Yeah.
All right, that's what I learned, Norm.
It seems to be like the diary of some person who is in service of somebody they call the Pharaoh of Darkness, is what you found in Life as a God.
Well, it sounds like whoever wrote that was taken over by the Dark Pharaoh as well. Who knows? Maybe Augustus would have ended up taking his own life if we had first.
We'll never know.
You have a special way of looking at things, Norman.
I'll say. So, you guys are now driving back. Is there anything you'd like to do? It's pretty late at this point, so by the time you get back to New York, it's probably going to be 8:30.
I thought that we were leaving my apartment for good, but since we're back here in New York, if we need a place to stay, I'd be happy to offer my residence. I'll take down all the copies of my books off of the wall for Leon.
Yeah, I think that would be agreeable. And then tomorrow we could stop off, collect some cash from our fund, and go purchase some books or some reading material as we head to. Where did you say we were heading to?
You have
Did we
not
decide
decided
Kenya first or China, or we haven't gotten there
We
yet?
haven't decided yet.
That's why I'm bringing it up.
Oh.
Let's talk about it.
I did I did read, and did anyone else was able to read the first book, Jack, or am I just going to be repeating information?
You're the only one who read the first book.
Okay. I did read about a lost city in the desert of Western Australia that was mentioned in the first book that I went
That
through.
was one of the last known locations of Roger Carlyle.
No,
Might
it wasn't.
be.
It was one of. That's
Jackson
what I have.
visit Australia?
No. Roger Carlyle was never in Australia.
Oh, that's where Jackson. That's where Jackson was. Apologies.
So why? Okay, here's the thing. Jackson died in New York. We searched New York,
Okay.
found some sketch, dealt with it. Now we got this Roger Carlyle. So what? We're not gonna go to where he died? Let's go to Kenya. Let's go find this mountain of the wind. Let's go see what's up.
I thought you
By the way, guys, the car rental for the day is going to cost you $21.
Oh, easy. I thought you wanted to go to Hong Kong, Norman. Weren't you all excited about a matchbook you found or something?
I don't want to go there anymore. I just want to figure out what's going on.
But
I just figure
Jack Brady was seen in Hong Kong, and he's thought to be dead.
It doesn't matter.
Shanghai.
Oh, Shanghai.
It doesn't matter who's dead, who's alive, and where they are. All that matters is Carlyle was found dead near the place where we're pretty sure the high priestess chills on top of the mountain. So why are we going to waste our time going to Australia, going to Hong Kong, Shanghai, all these other places, when we could be being followed for all we know? And the faster we figure out what's going on and stop it, the better chance we have at making it through this to write another book that people won't believe what happened.
Knowledge is power. Why would you want to run into the final... Why would you want to run right into something we're not sure what's going on yet? Why don't you want to investigate?
What? Why does it matter?
I'm just saying this lost city. We have a location or a location about approximate location.
So this
Might
thing
not
is
be-
so lost that it grants it the title of the Lost City, but yet you, Leon, finder of lost cities, has found the lost city.
Well, do you know where the mountain of-
The technical name that Leon has from the book is the City of the Great Race.
It's actually, Norm, considered the city of the Great Race.
Well, what kind of race? Can I bet on it? Horses? Turtles?
Turtles.
Turtle race.
I hate the
turtle race.
That's a long-term
turtles are
investment.
treated in the underground turtle races.
You got to take the whole day off for that race.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should necessarily, because this whatever oh fuck, I'm missing the word. Priestess or
The high priest.
high priest.
Priestess.
I don't know if we're necessarily prepared to deal with something of that caliber yet. I would like to find more information on what
You
we're
can't
dealing
actually
with.
believe there's some high priest that can float around and shoot
I just
lightning
got-
bolts at
I
us.
just had my stomach. I had a hole punched in my stomach from something that was disemboweled and walking towards me, and I
It
just saw a
wasn't scary
blob of.
enough.
And I just saw a blob of many faces. I'm pretty sure at this point I would believe anyone could fucking fly around on top of a mountain and tell people what to do.
And you, with a hole in your stomach, ran through a burning building. So clearly, we're capable of a lot. So I don't see why we don't go.
I don't
Just so I know, so Norman is pulling for Kenya. Leon is pulling for Australia. What are the other three of you? What are your thoughts?
I kind of want to go to
Well,
Shanghai.
Oh, God.
Like,
Now we have
I
three
thought it was
options.
Hong Kong that was our option.
And Shanghai is where
I thought it was
I'm
Hong
pretty
Kong.
sure I'm pretty sure it's Shanghai.
I just feel like it's so much effort to travel to Shanghai on the hopes that we'll meet one person who's believed to be dead. You know, it's like there's just a lot of effort
We
to
have
go
that-
through.
As a reminder, the person who said they saw Jack Brady in Shanghai, Jackson met him in Kenya.
Well, there you go. I mean, like, you know, should we establish an order of where we travel? Because, you know, I feel like you know, it's good to have, you know, it's good to trip plan, you know, trip advise, you know, beforehand. You
TripAdvisor?
know? Yeah, that's right.
I
I
just
also
think. Go ahead.
I just seem to remember something about London as well, but I don't remember why.
You found a business card for someone in London. You also know one of the members of the Carlisle expedition was from London. Jackson Elias was in London for a little bit, and the Carlisle expedition stopped in London for a little while.
So we have 5 people wanting 5 different locations.
Well, we
Cool,
got
let's
Hong
split up and
Kong,
start
Hong
with
Hong Kong
clues.
slash Shanghai. We got
No,
Africa.
you don't need to go to Hong Kong. It's just Shanghai. It's just Shanghai.
Listen, I wrote
Graydon
Hong
really
Kong,
wants
so-
to go to
Check the
Hong
book.
Kong.
I checked the table of contents because, like, they don't go to Hong Kong.
Graydon really wants to go to Hong
I
Kong.
said Hong Kong
I
once.
wrote Shanghai. I don't know why I wrote it, but I wrote it.
All right.
Shanghai, London, Australia, or Kenya.
Okay, I think we can forget Shanghai and we can forget London. That's my executive recommendation.
I agree.
I can agree about
I just think
London,
there's
but
too
not
little.
Shanghai.
What's so important? What's so good about Shanghai?
Well,
Why do you wanna go
personally, if there are undead beings wandering around in Kenya, I would like to go to Shanghai to confirm it.
Why
Wouldn't
don't we
you-
just go to Kenya to confirm it?
Yeah, you want to confirm that undead
Don't-
beings
would
exist
you rather
because one of them
face a
punched a
bunch
hole
of
in
them or
Leon's
one
stomach.
of them?
Well, what do you think? We're running into a graveyard? I don't understand. Like, what kind of intel are you looking for
there's-
about
I do-
undead beings? We've
I
had.
do- I just want to point out that we don't have a lot of information about what happened in Shanghai, so it might be a location we should visit after we get more information, because all we have to go off of is a bar with a supposed dead person that's walked and was seen there.
I mean,
That was
So we don't have
2 years
we don't
ago.
have a lot of information going to Shanghai. We have
what's
more
even our
information for
goal here?
Kenya, and we have more information for we don't even. The most information we have is for Kenya easily. I just know of this. I just read a book that mentioned from the books that we got from Erica that there is a city that is in the desert of Western Australia that is deemed the city of the Great Race. That is all I know in Australia. Might be something to check out, but I'd say I'd say that Kenya definitely has the most plausible leads. in
You
it.
also have the stuff that Professor Coles told you about Australia. He was the
Oh.
guy whose lecture.
I didn't go to that lecture, so I don't know
Yeah,
about that.
Clyde and
Um,
Harrison went
yeah.
to his
Yeah.
lecture.
yeah,
Anthony Coles lives in Sydney, is currently residing in Narcom.
is that all you have?
And he gave us information for a friend of his in Australia that would be able to help us out.
Oh, so we have more information on leads in Australia and Kenya.
Yeah, and he told you about a cult that he had researched called
Batman cult.
the sand bat.
Why don't we
Maybe
go
they're-
Australia,
Batman.
Australia, Shanghai, Kenya?
How about we go to Kenya?
We will go to Kenya after we go to Shanghai, after we go to Australia.
You know, in a fight, sometimes rushing in is the bad decision.
But
It just
yeah,
feels like
that's why
going-
we go to Kenya last.
I know. I agree with that.
Okay,
I
thank
feel
you.
like going to Kenya first.
You
is
don't
a
even
bad
know.
decision.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you. Let me just say something. You don't want to go to Kenya because you think that we're gonna go to Kenya
And we're gonna
and
die.
we're gonna meet the big honcho of this so-called bloody tongues, and we're gonna get killed. Well, who's to say that we're not gonna go to the city of the great race and not meet the same person and get killed, or go to Shanghai and go see this dead guy. Maybe the dead guy's the priestess. We don't know what's going on here, so
that
you
it
can't
doesn't
say,
matter, does it?
You can't say we gotta
Well,
go one
what we
place
do
because
know-
this other place is the end. You have no idea. This could go on forever. I just think we have the most information to go off of to go to Kenya. That's where Carlisle went. That's where Jackson was trying to investigate. It all leads right there. I don't know why we would go chase some other things that we read in books that are completely unrelated to this.
Are they related though? Are they?
They could just be the cult. They could be the same cult, just represented in
I mean,
different.
Jackson went to that temple in Peru. Should we just go back to fucking Peru then?
I will say Norman has a good point, saying that Jackson started in Kenya and he branched out from there.
Because as a reminder, you do know that Kenya is where the Carlisle expedition supposedly met its end, which is important if Jackson was researching the Carlisle expedition.
Yeah, that's true because like clearly some shards seem to have gone out to other places. Since
I don't want to
showed
say
up
that
in the
to
other place.
influence you. You guys can go wherever you want. The campaign is a sandbox. You can go anywhere in the world.
Well, my thought process was just that, like, I believe
I'd love to go to Hong Kong.
that this quest
Yes.
ends.
Let's go on a
Hong
vacation.
Sorry,
Kong
Matt.
DLC.
Sorry, Matt. I couldn't resist it. I couldn't.
Okay, Leon, if it makes you feel better, we will go on a nice vacation to Hong Kong when it's all said and done. Does that sound good, sweetheart?
Clyde, did you hear that? Hong Kong.
Oh, it's gonna be great. I hear they have great sandwiches. Anyways, as I was saying, I truly believe that our journey and our fight and our quest ends in Kenya. So, I mean, maybe I'm prioritizing things that are of too little importance, such as convenient travel plans, but I'd like to assemble all of the pieces before facing our final fight. But
Harrison,
hey, I'm not done. I'm not done.
No,
I'm
no,
not finished. I'm not finished.
I have a
I'm not
question for
finished.
you.
have
I have
to-
a question
okay.
for you. I have
Okay,
a question for
okay.
you.
Okay.
Now, when there's a car crash on the road, did the
Okay.
police go to the person's house and see what they had for breakfast that morning before they go to the site of the accident? Or do they go to the accident to figure out what happened?
I can't believe I just.
What did they eat that morning, though?
Technically, the accident was Jackson's death, and now we are investigating the leads outside of that.
Yeah.
So technically, we've already investigated the incident, and now we're going to check out the leads that we found from this incident.
But it's
Look.
clearly linked to the Carlisle, which is the next accident.
I'm okay with starting in Kenya. That's where I was going with this, but you had to just cut me off with your brilliant analogies and your amazing sense of reason. And for once, I'm listening to what Norman has to say and thinking, man, that guy makes sense. Is that what you want me to? Is that what you want to hear? Is that what it takes? Okay.
Yes.
So we go to Kenya.
I don't know about any of that there, Harrison. I don't know if Norman makes that much sense, but I think Jackson makes a lot of sense. And Jackson started in Kenya. So I also vote for Kenya.
Okay, so
Alright,
we go to
that's-
Kenya.
That's the
Majority rules.
Yeah.
We decide our next destination based on how the stuff in Kenya goes. And I don't want to hear anybody complaining when we go back to Kenya after going to those other places because we've got some dark witch that needs her ass
You
kicking.
voted for Kenya.
Yeah,
I
you'd be the one
did.
that'd be complaining.
I did,
think
but
they're
I
gonna write
just
a great movie about this moment right now, where one person had an opinion differing from others, and slowly I changed the mind of each and every one of you to join me.
okay. I
How
think
old
Well,
was
12
that?
Angry
I'm
Men
still-
already exists.
I still
so.
think we should have
Coming out
gone to
next year.
Australia first.
1957. Shit.
We're way ahead of
It's called
way
Back
ahead
to
of
the
our time.
Future.
No, you guys fucked up by going to Kenya. I'd be willing to put money on it.
What? What do
Yeah.
you mean?
It's
Why
gonna,
do you
be,
think
it's
that?
gonna be like a game. It's gonna be one of those areas you go visit and be like, blah, 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 go do this and this, blah, 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 blah. Then we gotta go fuck off all the other places.
What?
Not
What? So
on
you're
that
saying
level.
we have to have the HM rock smash to come back and
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna, it's gonna be
Yes,
stuff like
then.
that. That's what's gonna happen.
We need
But
the
that's okay.
HM.
Right, Ruth, present your case. Let's hear it.
No, the vote was made.
But I'm still open. I want to hear an
also-
argument.
I'm curious to hear everyone's justification for where they want to go.
Yeah.
Just as a personal curiosity, I want to hear everyone's personal. I've already heard Norman's case for Kenya. I'd love to hear
Okay,
everyone
I'll
else's case
say
for
my
it.
case.
Yeah.
So I need to clarify something first, Jack. The Carlisle expedition went to Australia, right? That's where this first book is kind of written from.
The Carlisle expedition never went to Australia.
Okay,
The Carlisle
then-
expedition started in New York, went to London, went to Egypt, went to Kenya, died in Kenya.
Do I know where they would have found this book?
What book? Oh
The
no,
one-
the books from Erica's safe in the Carlisle mansion belonged to Roger before he left for the expedition.
Okay. Then I don't. My argument's kind of voided. I just was figuring because we had a person. I did actually. I was just thinking because we had a location to go to, whereas in Kenya we kind of have like a broad area search.
No worries. Yeah, I mean I'm here to answer questions if you guys ever forget stuff, because I'm the one who's read the books, so I can always point you in the right direction without giving you any spoilers. So if you just ever forget information, there's a good chance that I know it. Because like the Carlisle expedition, it's so hard to follow like what they were doing because it's all told in like the handouts that I gave you guys and like for meeting NPCs and stuff like that. Until Jackson dies, you don't really have a reason to know anything about the Carlisle expedition. So
Yeah.
it's tough to see where the Carlisle expedition and Jackson's death fit in with one another. That's kind of part of the mystery that you're trying to uncover.
Okay.
Well, in
I
that case,
have
it
an
does.
idea. Sorry, Joe. Say what you're saying, Jared. I apologize.
In
Or
that
sorry,
case, it might not be a bad idea to stop at Kenya first because it's one of the few areas there where Jackson crossed paths with the Carlisle expedition, and if there is any link between the two of them, we would probably have a good idea what that link is and what caused Jackson to go to Australia.
For reference, Jackson never went to Australia. He mentioned that he wanted to go to Australia, but never did. And Jackson never met anyone from the Carlisle expedition. He was researching his next book, which was centered on the Carlisle expedition.
No, I know, but I'm talking where they both were in a location.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like it's one of the few places where they both had gone, seemingly interested in having ties to something similar in like
Right.
what happened.
Gotcha.
And it might lead us to a reasoning of why Jackson wanted to go to Australia to
Right.
reinforce maybe he knows the location.
Gotcha, right. So based on what you know of what clues were left behind by Jackson, it seems like Jackson retraced the steps of the Carlisle expedition, but slightly backwards. He started where they died and then went back. Because I think one of his telegrams was from Cairo and another one was from London.
Okay.
Ruth, what are your points?
I feel like Kenya's the end of the road. I don't want to start at the end. I can understand your guys' reservations about Shanghai. I acknowledge your criticisms. So what I recommend, what I think we should do, is we follow the steps of the Carlisle expedition. Let's go to London. Or even if we want to skip London, because there may not be things there, let's go to Egypt rather, where they did their initial dig and found something interesting. I think we should follow their path rather than doing what Jackson did and going backwards. Jackson already did that. Let's try to do something new.
As a note, London is the easiest place to get to from New York by sea. But you can get to anywhere in the world from the United States. It's just, it might be slightly more difficult and cost more money.
Their Egyptologist lived in London, so I assume that's why they went there.
We do have a name.
Did all just die, or are they still
He was
around?
part of the expedition.
His name
Yeah.
was Sir Aubrey Penhew.
Mhm.
Sir Aubrey Penhew. That's a name.
So I think London or Egypt personally.
I'm on board with retracing their steps for sure. But I do kind of feel like we have to investigate Kenya to the fullest before going to the other places. Because here's my thought: is it definitely makes sense that the bad guys that we need to take down are in Kenya, because that's where we've literally heard like lair, mountain, place where they died, place where the bad guy lives. But I think like what are we expecting to find in Australia exactly? Like why would we want to go to Australia? Because I wonder if there might be a connection to the two, which actually puts Australia in a position of greater importance, that our final fight might actually be there.
I
It's
agree
not a
with
rhetorical
Ruth.
question.
Let's go to London.
What?
What did you say, Norman?
I said I agree with Ruth. Let's go to London. She's right. Jackson already did go backwards. Let's go the other way. Maybe we'll find something he missed.
Did they go?
Sorry, just because I'm really loving this conversation, because I find it super interesting what justifications you guys are using to like, and you're really using the clues really well. So just as like the keeper, I'm super interested. Did you change your mind based on Ruth's arguments, Norman?
I did.
Okay, interesting. How do the other three feel about that? That we now have 2 votes for London.
I'm on board with retracing steps, and London is just kind of a stepping stone to everywhere else we need to go anyways. But I do think that we will potentially be making 2 trips to Kenya, but at the very least our first trip to Kenya needs to be like as we're retracing their steps. I mean, why wouldn't we go to the place where they died, other than the fact that there might be people that will kill us there? But hell, at this point, there should be people that will kill us anywhere.
I'm okay with it. I think whatever either direction we go will be beneficial. Whether we go to Australia first or go retracing steps. Something made Jackson want to go to Australia, so to me, that we will eventually go there based on his findings. But if we want to wait for more information, we can, because we have a person to contact, but it is a lost city, as Norm pointed out. So we don't have a guaranteed location of where it is. We just know it's in a desert in Western Australia. So I'm okay. I still think that it'd be a good one to start with, but I'm also okay with starting with London. I just don't think we should go right to Kenya, just because I don't feel like facing deity goddess there that'll mess us up as she floats around.
And what about Harrison and Clyde? What are your thoughts now?
I don't know, Clyde.
Well, here's my thoughts. Right. We just learned really about Australia. I don't think we have enough to go off of there. Kenya, at the moment, seems to be the end all be all. But that's where Jackson started, and he was fine, and he backtracked his way through, and he learned a few things. On the other hand, going through the Carlisle route, they also learned a few things, but died, supposedly. Did they go to London before Egypt?
Yes.
The Carlisle expedition, they did.
Okay.
Yeah, London was their first stop for the Carlisle expedition.
I guess the question comes down to, do we follow the footsteps of the Carlisles or of Jackson?
Don't we already know
Carlisle.
everything Jackson knew?
Well, we know some of what Jackson knew. We don't know why he wanted to go to Australia.
Putting Australia aside for the moment, just focusing on the Carlisles. I'm not sure what more
No,
he
I
knew, but
I think we know more about the Carlyles because it's been documented. It's been in the papers. What Jackson knew, we knew. Not very many others know about that. There's stepping
But,
stones.
I mean, we privilege Jackson's knowledge more than the Carlisle knowledge. Does
Well,
that
we
make
knew
sense?
Jackson.
That's
Well, here's the thing: we know the information Jackson knows. Who got his information by following the Carlisle expedition.
He went backwards. He started.
Yeah,
in
but
Canada.
still, he went to locations where the Carlisle expedition was. So he followed the Carlisle expedition. He didn't go in the order they went, but he still followed the Carlisle expedition. So all of his stuff was based off of the Carlisle expedition. So I would
Yes,
agree with
that's
Clyde in the case where we actually probably know more about the Carlisle expedition than we do about Jackson, because Jackson also was basing his expedition off of the Carlisle expedition.
One reason I want to go in the order that the Carlyles went is because when they were in Egypt, they discovered something important, but refused to comment to reporters. So we really have no idea what they discovered and what led them to Kenya. I think.
So why
that would be
don't
a
we go to
pretty crucial
Egypt?
clue.
So, but if I think we might as. I'm inclined to say we might as well go to London. I don't really have a reason why, but I'm fine going to
Seems
Egypt.
pretty
or
easy to
London.
stop at London on the way, right?
Yeah.
To get to Egypt by sea, you basically have to take a boat to England and then take another ship to Cairo. Or
Okay.
Port Said is the name of the port town that you go to before you go directly to Cairo.
So in that case, I mean, I'm good with whatever the group wants to do. I would like to go check out the city of the great races because it could be important in linking to this cult.
I anticipate we'll go there after Kenya, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so yeah, I'm on board with London, Egypt. I think that's a good call.
But we got to start somewhere, and we know we'll survive at least, or we'll hopefully survive going that route because, as Ruth has pointed out, Carlisle and Carlisle, they ended their expedition in Kenya, but we know for a fact that Jackson made it all the way around and back to the U.S. without dying. So hopefully, if we retrace his steps, we can also find out more information as well as not die. That'd be the preferred.
That's the spirit. Most encouraging words I've ever heard you say, Leon.
I recently had a rush with death or a run-in with death, and it was not great.
I'm sorry, can you be more specific? I feel like you've had a lot of those lately.
I had one, and it was a hole in my stomach.
Yep, that was the big one.
Yeah.
Now you're looking for a run-in with medicine.
Now I'm looking for a run-in with medicine. As I'm toting I have my Harvard sweatshirt and my.
What you should really do is cross the United States, and then get to San Francisco, and then take a boat from either there to like Australia or Shanghai, because that'll give you the most time to make the Constitution checks to see if you can get your hit points back.
That's actually the reason I wanted to go to Australia is because I needed hit points.
Just so you can heal.
Mobile hospital.
In all seriousness, I agree with London, Egypt. I think I don't think there's a lot for us in London. I think that'll be a quick stop, and then we can move on to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looks like you guys are going to London.
Across the pond.
My old birth country.
Tell us about when you were walking around as a small lad playing Pokemon.
Oh, well, when I was a boy. Well, that's funny you say that because both Matthew Griffiths, the legend himself, and also Harrison Dodge were both born in the United Kingdom. Except I wasn't born in the United Kingdom. But you know where I'm coming from with this.
Yeah.
I was born in Birmingham, which isn't London, but it's there. It's around.
Birmingham?
Birmingham. You don't say
That's
the
a
ham.
pretty fun festival.
God damn it.
Oh my
I
god.
didn't expect
Wow.
that.
Oh,
Oh, Evan coming in with the classics. So, we rest in the
Did you, like,
morning.
change your accent there? So we rest.
I don't know. I don't remember. In the morning,
In the morning.
we get some cash. We get our books. We book passage, and we head out.
Perhaps we split up
This-
into two
yeah.
groups. One gets passage and one gets books.
I'm just gonna hang around.
as a
Maybe
reminder,
tomorrow.
Carlton is happy to book any travel accommodations that you need.
Okay, good to know.
Because he has access to all of the funds. So if you talk to him, he can book you passage anywhere that you need to go.
Can
Well, we might as
we
well
take
book everything.
Yeah.
Can we take Norman's boat? Is that a bad idea?
That is a terrible idea. It's
Okay.
a fishing vessel not meant for.
I've
is-
sailed the 7 seas with my fishing boat.
Yeah, maybe the coast.
Yeah, it is not meant to go on cross-Atlantic voyages.
Smart.
Cool.
Perfect.
So we'll save that till plan C or D. How about that, boys?
Well, if I'm gonna be leaving my boat in New York, I'm gonna have to spend the day tomorrow putting her away.
Pack it
Yeah.
up.
I respect that, Norman. Just come back to us at the end of the night. Don't get too lost in your boat and decide you don't want to join us anymore. You're part of this too.
I'd say there's probably a place in New York that you can put it in dry dock and pay people to like keep it there. I assume that's something that you can find somewhere on the East Coast, probably somewhere close to New York. That seems like a service that people would offer. So
I can get on board
no
with
worries
that.
there. Yes. So I think that will probably be where we call both the night. Oh, also, Norman, tomorrow's a Monday.
I know. That's why I'm trying to get away from the group.
Aren't we leaving tomorrow?
You probably can't book passage on the same day that you want to leave. So you'll probably be a few days before you can take off properly. Good news is New York to one of the ports in England is not too bad of a trip. It's like a week and a half type deal if the weather is good. So you don't have to be on a boat for weeks at a time. But yeah, is there anything anybody wants to do before we end tonight's session?
No, I don't. Not on my end.
I
No.
just want to read my book.
I'm waiting to be on somewhere that I can read my book and improve my skill.
Okay. Yeah, we'll consider it. Well, it depends how you want to do it. We can either do like we'll do character improvement next time. We'll consider that the end of the chapter once you guys are on the ship bound for London. So
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
that'll be
Cool.
the end. That'll be the end of chapter 2. That'll be Peru and New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
We
The
did.
crazy-
No
we-
combat in today's session. I didn't get to blast anybody with my
Only
revolver.
verbal.
You
combat.
haven't. I don't think you've blasted a person with your revolver
That
since we
is
started
strictly
in New York. I think you
Maybe
blasted
years.
at people with your revolver,
Yeah,
but
I blasted it in the general direction of opponents.
So, as you all tuck in for the night, Matilda serves you all a lovely dinner,
Oh, Matilda.
and you enjoy each other's company, kind of. I'm not really sure if you guys are friends or not. I have a hard
I'm
time
not
telling,
either.
but nonetheless, merriment is had, food is enjoyed, and night comes to you. And if you want to do anything else, let me know. Otherwise, we're gonna end tonight's session there, guys.
Man, I'm very curious to see how this progresses.
So am
So
I.
am I.
I think we're all gonna die.
That's
Hopefully
it.
not.
Too positive over here.
Hopefully, we all don't die at the same time, so we have to relearn everything. Pretty much start the game over, so that we can fill in new members as they come in.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
So this one group was chasing Jackson, who was chasing the Carlisle expedition.
They went to London.
That-
So I
we
think we should
leave
start
you
at
to chase
Shanghai.
It's actually a big fear of mine. Is like, what if we end the campaign and you guys like finish it, but we have none of the original characters left? It's just like you heard secondhand from some people who were friends with the guy that got murdered that you had to like search down his murderers and get to the bottom of the mystery, and then like, why though? Why are
if
we
we
here?
if we all die, it has to be the Hughes expedition team that comes and follows us.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Well, thank you for joining me again tonight, guys. That was a good session.
It was.
That was a blast.
Perfect. Well, as always, we've been Live Connection. You can catch us every Thursday and Sunday. We also have a YouTube channel and all of that good stuff, and we're always happy to have you here. As always, I've been Jack, joined by Peter, Evan, Jared, Graydon, and Matt. We are so happy to do this, and I can't wait to see what happens next time when we get into Chapter 3.
The curse of the Monday.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone.